Just telling me I'm offline. That can't possibly be true. I see myself. There we go, much better. Much better. Alright, time to get up and wrapped up in another blanket. I really need to call Channel Fireball, just have them send me over a sweatshirt or like 6. What's up, Dokamoy? How goes? Ooh, Hoogland's auto-hosting me for 11 people. Hoogland's great, as per usual. What's up, Brian? How you doing? We're gonna try to not punt as many matches tonight. That's the goal of the stream. We can lose every match as long as we don't play as badly as we did that one round against Scapeshift. Whew, that was an embarrassment. That one was ugly. How's everybody else doing tonight? You're on Mega Tilt. That's not what I like to hear. I didn't play around my opponent having 2x Fire Blast plus Price of Progress. Goodness gracious. Dokumo, I hope you're talking Legacy. Wait, were you playing Legacy against Gabby? Is that what Cry Lightning's saying? Alright, got a pretty sweet opener here. We're going to be able to fetch Steam Vents, play basic Swamp, have Counter Squall open. Breeding Pool tap. So this can either be Bant Company or Infect. Basically nothing else I can really think this is going to be. My opponent did top their card. My hand is unfortunately very bad against both of those decks, so them's the beats. Holy moly, tons of followers. We're just going infinite over here. Cry Lightning's following. Thanks, Cry Lightning. Welcome. Hopefully you have a fun time tonight. If I can do anything to make the stream better, please don't hesitate to let me know. One of the big things is I want to keep improving this. Hopefully by going back-to-back nights and having everybody kick it and hang out, that'll help out. Oh, that's nice of MJ. He didn't have to host us, but I'll definitely take it. Boo! The Voice of Resurgence. That's the card that our deck's not set up to beat anymore. What's up, Delicious Waffles? How it goes? Oh, I should probably mute all of these. Definitely do want to read this message, though. Alright, well, that's a Voice of Resurgence, so we're going to start making moves here. So the Thought Scour here gets us 3 cards, so we can fetch into a Water Grave, and that allows us to turn 2 Tasigur, also known as the Dream. Technically, I should have fetched first there, because if I mill over my 2 Water Graves, I'm going to be thoroughly embarrassed. So to prevent the, 1 in whatever 2,000 chance there, you're supposed to fetch first, but whatever. If we get Path Tear, it's not great, but it's not the end of the world. Of note, we've got 2 pretty dead counterspells sitting in our hand, so there is not great stuff going on. Okay, Dokumoy. What's up, Zranium? How goes? Lord of the Pit, what are Joe Cool facts? Is Joe Cool like we're talking Snoopy? Because I love Snoopy. I love animals, so anything that involves cute cuddly puppies or just any animal in general, I'm just always going to say yes. Like, I'm pretty much a sucker for anything in that vein, so absolutely. So we got an interesting spot here. Huh. I think my plan is I'm just going to play my Creeping Tar Pit and hold everything up. That way on the following turn I have access to 4 mana, and I could like bolt with Countersquall back up, because I do want to leave up Cryptic in the case that I do need it. Because giving my opponent 1 elemental is like not the end of the world, and this doesn't really have any targets. My opponent's also in a spot currently where if they just run on a knight, I can bolt the knight. Unfortunately, I don't have 2 red sources, but... The other plan is you could just bolt this Kusali Pride Mage, but I think my bolt can be spent better elsewhere, so I'm just going to keep passing, holding up my manas. Again, this is not the greatest of strategy against Voice of Resurgence, but because we have 2 more turns until the Ancestral resolves, I think it's a pretty reasonable one. This is a retreat to Coral Helm. That can resolve. Reason why this can resolve is I have the outs to deal with things like a Collected Company, and I can relatively easily deal with something like a Knight of the Reliquary just resolving. So I'm fine taking some amount of damage off of this nonsense for right now, rather than giving my opponent another creature. Ten. Another Cryptic Commando. Alright, well, given where the board state has advanced to, I think I just want to kill the Kusali Prime Mage rather than the Voice. Turn after, I can just deal with the Voice, and I don't want to get hit for 4 more damage. I'm fine giving my opponent an elemental token at the cost of 2 damage. So I think we'll go ahead and do that. Again, we're getting a bunch more cards next turn. I do want to force my opponent to use their tap land to tap my Tasigur. So if they would have given me the ability to attack there, I would not have selected to attack. That's awesome, Delicious Waffles. Alright, later Tasigur getting tapped. Magic Master, we corrected the error where we had a 3rd Countersquall on the list, and it's replaced with a negate for now. Noble, so that'll deal us 3 damage, that's fine. Delicious Waffles, what is the Clergy of Cool? Zeranium, yeah, when you play this deck badly, I don't know if you were able to watch the matches last night, I played really, really, really badly against a specific Scapeshift player who played very, very well to allow me to make so many mistakes. You can certainly see really poor results. Selfless Spirit. Okay, annoying, but not the end of the world also. Alright, so we're going to draw up a bunch of cards here. Ooh, snappy-doo. Ooh, another bolt. Alright, so that's going to help us deal with a bunch of nonsense here. Fortunately, just have a million Cryptics. Alright, just wanted to make sure I got that out of the way. Alright, so again, retreat to Coral nonsense. We could fetch a mountain, look to bolt this thing, and then we could Snapcaster bolt the Resurgence. Other line of play here is I fetch a mountain, I go to bolt the Selfless Spirit, and then in response to them sacking, I make them discard and kill the Voice. I think that's my best line. As I do want this Voice out of play now that I've got just a quadrillion Cryptics. So I think we'll go ahead and do that. Get our Montania. Let's make you discard Shock the Sky. Lord of the Pit will tell me about the Clergy. Awesome. What's up, AJ? How it goes? Yeah, Nova, maybe we should have bolted it the first time, not sure. Alright, Voice, get out of here. You've been a problem. And again, we're just going to hold back. I'd rather keep having my opponent burn their resources to trade for 3 points of damage here. We're going to get the last card out of their hand. Hopefully it's a goodie. Qualifies as a goodie in my book. And now our entire hand's turned back online. So we're likely to go to 3 this turn, but that's not the end of the world. Crack the Canopy. Ooh, another fetchy land. Alright, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, Zarnium, it was ugly. I have 6 for the stream after that escape shift game. Yeah, Dalton, it was, something. Alright, let's forward ourselves into combat here, see if our opponent will just crack the fetch. If they would have, we would have Snapcaster Kolaghan's command there. They unfortunately did not. So I'm just going to go ahead and pass here. My opponent cracks this fetch here. I think I'm supposed to Snapcaster, kill this elemental and make them discard. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Reason for this is they can't cast a Collected Company in response. So, Snappy-Doo. Okay, Commando. How much do you hate yourself when Lingering Souls cast against game 1? Not too much. I mean, when I draw 3 cryptic commands, it's obviously very easy to deal with. Target creature or player. Yeah, let's kill the annoying little elemental that could. Could get got if they have a Vendilion Click, but I'm just not concerned with the Vendilion Click here. Alright, they have another fetch land. If they have a Dryad Arbor, they should get their Dryad Arbor here, but most lists don't play main deck Dryad Arbor. Thought on a Loot House main. SMI, I just don't think you can afford to have colorless lands in this deck. I think the mana is not very good. Like, I think that's one of the big fallacies of Modern, where people just think the mana base is you can just do whatever the hell you want. That's just not the case. Alright, so they bottomed a card on their scry. They drew a second retreat. Okay, most people don't have 2 retreats, so this is news to me. Given that information, this land's pretty good. I think I'm just going to attack here with both my creatures. So my opponent tries to do something where they just play a land pre-combat and attack. I can just activate the tar pit and block, so yeah, I'll attack with both. Get in there, Snappy, you got work to do, buddy. Also, if they play a land, I just have infinite cryptic, so I can just, like, tell them to leave me alone. Alright, so it should get hit down to 2. Please be Modern, please be Modern. Yeah, Holy Diva, I asked everybody, and I was like, hey, what does everybody like more? And people made it pretty apparently clear to me that they know me as the Modern guy, so I figure you can get your fix watching Modern Masters 2017 drafts, basically from whoever you want. So that I probably should not be going for that market. Here I think it's probably correct for us to just go get a basic island. Trying to think of like what creature spell our opponent could have where they could possibly interact. The plan here is I fetch basic island, I then cryptic command, bounce their Noble Hierarch and draw a card. I then untap, animate the tar pit, and attack with everybody. So let's go ahead and do that. I expect my opponent's dead, but maybe I could punt something here. It's in my range. Alright, return target permanent to its owner's hand and draw a card. Bounce your Noble. Make sure to leave up blue-black. Golden Dragon. GP San Antonio is next week, as Dokomoy said. The Night Terror rises. Ochre, yeah, it's like negative degrees in this house as always. Who the heck knows what's going on? My dad's just a goofball. I love my dad to death, but good God, the house is cold. Come on, man. I guess I should technically move into beginning of combat, because I can do that on Moto. See if my opponent screws up. They don't. No, if you can't actually do this in a live tournament anymore, and I've gotten my opponents on it before. It's a stupid rule, and I hate it, but, you know, this is how Magic's played in sort of the physical realm. Alright, what is this? A Spell Queller. Well, given my line of play, that is a card I can lose to, because I did not think that that was in their deck. Okay. Fair enough, fair enough. Guess I could have played around that. That was probably stupid then. Fair enough. Probably didn't need to get the game over with. Alright, have not played against a version that Spellcaller main before. Maybe it's just Bant Spirits, but it doesn't seem like it is. Whatever, that one's on main then. I'm not too sad about losing this one, just because I actually get to learn something rather than just being dumb. It's also a thing that I had so many cryptics, could have just played around this. It's interesting my opponent would just cast another spell there. Okay. Good to learn, good to learn. Thunder Fist, yes. I think that the Abzan creatures are just not powerful enough to grind with you. $15 mentioned a bunch, but never said anything. Keep streaming. I really enjoy the attention to detail and explaining things. Thanks, Xwatch. Appreciate it. So yeah, the big thing there is, like, when you just have that many cryptics, I probably should just not have made a move. Like, I can definitely make the move to cryptic bounce their noble, but there's no reason for me to animate my land. That was probably just a big mistake. Pretty clear one, too. It's just, like, not really thinking of, like, okay, how are you possibly losing this game? And I figured it was like, okay, Path to Exile, Court of Calling, Collecting Company. Those are, like, the reasonable cards, so to speak. But it seemed like if I just thought for a minute longer, it's like, could my opponent, like, I thought about Vendilion Click earlier. It's like, could my opponent have Spell Queller? Like, it's another flash guy. Let's see. Is a Staticaster, from my experience, has not been great in this matchup. At least it wasn't great when I played against Steve Rubin in the final of the Mox, where he just had, like, Tireless Trackers and a bunch of nonsense after sideboard. I think one Dispel is fine. I don't like the Counter Squalls because they're kind of clunky. Anger and Damnation are obviously fantastic. I don't know if these Fatal Pushes are great, but I'd rather try them than not. Counter Spells on the play, I think, are fine in terms of the Spell Snares. Could you have a Cryptic? Seems wrong when I feel like the games are going to get to just a board stall, and I'm just going to need to tap all their guys and kill them. Yeah, Pat Run, the way that it works at live Magic is you have to announce what you're going to do in beginning of combat. It doesn't work in IRL because as the active player, the way professional Magic rules work, so at Grand Prix, is competitive REL and higher, you have to announce, I am moving into beginning of combat, and I would like to do this in beginning of combat. It's a weird thing that I think they did basically so people like me stop trying to trick my opponent by saying, I'm going to leave my main phase. Can I do something? Which was a common trick to get your opponent to cast a spell so you could move back into your main phase once so you could see if you needed to do anything else, like i.e. play a haste creature. So I think the rule is there in terms of like protecting people from being stupid, but I believe that when you put beginning of combat triggers into sets, I don't believe that you're allowed to have that rule exist. So I believe the rule fundamentally is flawed for reasons like Toolcraft Exemplar and then its power being required to, crew vehicles. I don't know what the hell I'm boarding here. Whatever, we'll board like this. I don't think these Spellsters are very good, but we'll probably find out if they're good or not. Yeah, Druck, I only owned one on Moto, and then I had to ask my buddy to borrow one, and I've just never given it back. And I think at this point it's just mine. I'm pretty sure that's how, like, the law of possession works. Like, if I possess it for so long, I just own it. But, I mean, if Brandon Fisher ever wants $50, he can just have $50. I'll just give it to him. Alright, well, I don't need 52 polluted deltas. I don't even know if I want the second one. So, the Serum Visions is 1, this is 2. Hopefully can bolt something, it gets us to 3. Hopefully can Spell Snare. I think I'll bottom this also. I think I'd rather find more spells. Pat, that's not how it works at competitive REL. Yeah, the correct thing to do is to say beginning of combat. Sorry. No, what you said there in the 3rd, 4th, 5th line is correct. I'm sorry. Yeah, mono bolts, if you say that, however, at competitive REL, so Grand Prix, PTQs, PPTQs, RPTQs, things of that nature, that means I am moving to declare attackers. You're not allowed to move to beginning of combat according to the paper Magic rules currently. Dokumo, I don't just have $50 to hand out to people, but if there's some sort of reasonable transaction going on, yeah, you can have $50 as long as I'm getting some reasonable thing. Waffle, I know you're not Brandon Fisher. Brandon Fisher is like... Brandon Fisher could call me right now, then I know you're Brandon Fisher, but I'm very certain I've never heard Brandon Fisher talk about waffles, so I would be terribly shocked if you were Brandon Fisher. I was going to say that Brandon's hung out in my chat before, but I don't know if that's actually true. Yeah, Spectre, it's really weird. Alright, opponent not doing anything again? That's not great for my hand. My hand's not good. my opponent just sits there forever. Granted that I would be happy to shuffle those cards back into my library now, because I've got a double red spell. I'm going to go ahead and crack my fetch. Ooh, another Snappy-Doo. Another Snappy-Dappy-Doo. Could do something silly here, like Snapcaster or Serum Visions, but just sounds so bad. Basically, you'll almost never see me Snapcaster or Serum Visions unless I'm, like, desperate. I'm just not desperate because my hand's actually good. I don't think my opponent's likely to cast a spell on the next turn, which is one of the unfortunate facets, however. Seems like they've just kind of changed their deck into some Bant cards I own monstrosity. Given that, we could just slime this Tasker, and I'm not really opposed to doing that. Nope. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. Can't get Unified Willed. I can get Path to Exiled, but if I get Path to Exiled, I'll just go get a Mountain. And then they can just slam a Collected Company main phase, and that's fine. I mean, I'm not going to be happy, but it's all fine. Alright, no Path to Exile. That's pretty decent for us. Funkhauser, my team is Samuel Black, Justin Cohen, and myself. Favorite team? It's probably still just Huey, Owen, and Reed. I'd be shocked if they were a team that I think was just fundamentally more sound than those three gentlemen. Ooh, a Kolaghan's Command. Alright, so given that my opponent could have slammed a company there, I'm unlikely to believe my opponent is a company. Obviously, let's hope we draw a Montanya for our anger here. I'm going to go ahead and start attacking this Sphinx, try to get our opponent dead a little bit. So we didn't do anything. Do we want to fire up a K command? Not really. I think I can get a K command traded into a Spell Queller and then kill a Spell Queller with my Lightning Bolt. So I'm just going to go ahead and pass here. Likely to take 3 from this Kitchen Sphinx. My opponent just immediately attacks. I might bite the bullet and fire something off here in response. Alright, a Noble makes me pretty happy. I'll let that resolve. Beginning of combat, I'm going to go ahead and try to pop this Sphinx here. Hopefully my opponent Spell Quellers this. And then obviously, hopefully we pop off a red source. If we don't pop a red source, then we just Lightning Bolt and then K command. And if my opponent Unified Wills here, obviously I'm going to Spell Snare. Nope, they're just letting him resolve. What do they discard? They discarded a Unified Will. Okay. So my opponent's on to my tricks. Yeah, Ogre. Was not a great strategy. Yeah, Spectre, he's an all-around awesome dude. Like, I'm really lucky to have him as one of my close friends. He and Justin are both close friends of mine, and they're both just fantastic people. But as soon as there's a retreat to Coral Helm or a Knight of the Reliquary, Tireless Tracker. Alright, they have a land drop. Ooh, they got 2 land drops. That's lucky. Should probably crack that now. There you go. Alright, now we really hope we draw a red source. Now we draw a red source and we get to anchor away 3 things. Sure, our opponent has 2 clues sitting over there, but we're in a really good spot to just turn the corner and pretty much end the game. Alright, fortunately do another red spell. So here, I think it'd be pretty drastic to do anything but just kill the silly Tireless Tracker right now, so we'll go ahead and do that. The question is, do we want to battle in with Tasker? We can put our opponent to 13, they can put us to 12. We have 2 Snapcasters. Unfortunately, not in a position to start firing off bolts, because again, we're stuck on 1 red source. I think we're going to win if we can just deploy all of our spells. Yeah, I think given that if we just deploy all our spells, I think I'm in favor. I'm just going to hold Tasker back for a little bit. Our hand just has 5 insane spells in it. Thanks, Holy Thief. I appreciate it. Sam's been playing a lot of really weird decks the last couple days. Alright, Noble. Tasker, it might be your turn to hit the bucket. So they can Kessig Wolf Run here for activate mana is these 3, and then 1, 2, 3 with the Noble. So it grows up to a 4/3, and then they can pump it up to a 7. So, Tassiger, it is probably your time to leave us, friend. Yeah, this is fine. We can just Snapcaster up a Bolt next turn, still a Snare up. Funkhauser, not exceptionally quickly, but it's a thing we've been discussing for, the better part of a month now, so. We were really just waiting to make sure that no cards got banned. Okay, so my opponent's leaving up mana to crack a clue here. I think that's reasonable. They're not really in a spot to push damage, and they need to find cards. More Snapcaster Mages. You know what we need in life? More Snapcaster Mages. I don't really want to just Snapcaster Mage, Bolt main phase. Again, I'm pretty happy to get that quellered. I'm less happy to get the Bolt in the graveyard quellered, but... Or wait, Spell Queller would... Oh lordy, I don't even know how the rules of flashback work. The card may be cast in your graveyard for its flashback cost, then exile it. So if it's exiled by other means, I assume that I still get to cast it again. If not, hey, we're going to learn. So yeah, I'm just going to pass here again. Expect my opponent to crack a clue. Mono Bolts, it was actually off of a standard Grand Prix. I wasn't qualified for PT Vancouver in 2015, and I watched every minute of coverage that I could, and what I thought was the metagame, which was Mono Red and Soul Artifact were the two best performing decks. I thought it was exceptionally weak to Abzan aggro. And I configured a version of Abzan aggro that played 4 Herald of Torment, or Anguish, or the Bestow creature that gave +3/+3 and flying. And I just gave people the business as fast as I could. I played all 2 mana removal. I tried to slim everything down. I tried to be as mana efficient as possible. And luckily enough for me, now you guys know me. Dokkamoy, he does it all the time. I don't really care if people see what decks he's testing, because he hasn't decided his deck. Knowing Sam, he'll have 6 decks on him, and on Friday he just still will have not chosen his decks. Should have probably bolted this in response. Whatever, Splash and Snappy. Get him, Snappy. Yeah, there's some argument here where you can just say pass and just try to get them to cast a Wolf Run. I just don't think my opponent's going to ever cast a Wolf Run there. They're noble there based on how they played the previous turn, where they seem very adept at, hey, I want to crack clues. Alright, Voice of Resurgence, we will fire off the Spell Snare. Could get into a dicey spot here where they just slam a Scavenging Ooze, but I don't think there's a reason to sit here and hold on to all of my Spell Snares and just let them start getting Elementals. If they Unify Will, this is not going to end well for them. I believe the card says they have to control more creatures than me, right? Yeah, if you have more creatures than its controller. Oh, there's the Spell Claw. Alright, much better they got a counterspell underneath it. Pretty smart on their behalf. Oh, interesting, Spectre. Okay, good to know. Appreciate it. Cryptic Commando. Still, unfortunately, stuck on the blue manas. I think I'm kind of just into bolting the Spellclaw and attacking with Snapcasters. I can't block the voice. Kind of a rough spot. Definitely like to hit another red mana for this Anger of the Gods sometime soon. Alright, let's see if this bolt resolves on this Queller. If it does, sweet. If it doesn't, less sweet. It's difficult for me to believe my opponent has another blue mana in their deck, though. Yeah, Dylan, Abzan aggro is great. So if you flashback a spell... Alright, hold let's attack their Snappy-Doo first. And then I'll start reading this and try to understand what's going on here. So if you flashback a spell and eat it with the spell core, the core leaving play will actually allow for the spell to be cast from exile and then go back to the graveyard. Oh, okay, so it does do what I thought it did, Spectre. That's good. That was not what I anticipated it doing. Yeah, Ochre, it's kind of annoying. I think my opponent... Oh, maybe they don't want to crack a Misty in case they draw a retreat. But I think retreat's a pretty bad card in this matchup, so I'd expect them to board it out. Not a great spot here. Oh yeah, Spectre, that is a sweet one. I've definitely done that to people and had it done to me before. Not a great feeling. Not a great feeling at all. Oh, also that's a smart point too. Z, my favorite beer? Goodness gracious, I don't know. I don't drink beer often. Friday was a rough day. There are good days and there are bad days, and that day was particularly rough. Don't want to get into specifics, but yeah, it was a rough day for me. So I determined that I walked in, went to the fridge out there in the garage, grabbed a beer, walked upstairs, and was like, I'm just gonna start streaming. Hopefully, I can just do my thing, and no one's gonna judge me. Oh boy. Oh boy. Getting to those spots where you just don't have clean answers to things, and it's not great. Considering on this next turn, like, I'm going to attack with my Snapcaster, and my opponent goes to attack with the Voice, I'm going to Snapcaster the Bolt and try to Bolt the Voice. Giving them a crap ton of elementals, and then I'm just going to try to Damnation the board. Obviously, if that doesn't work out, we're probably not living. So, there's that. It's kind of difficult to take more hits from this Wolf run, so there's that. And also just, like, popping this Voice of Resurgence right now with Snap Bolt's not really fantastic. Sure, it's still a 2-2, I can't really cast Instance, and then the Kessig Wolf run, the Trample for, like, 6. And then I still have to deal with an elemental token. Just all of the bad things in one. EOT Cryptic Draw, obviously. You think so, MJ? It's alright, Z. You're good. Well, my opponent does have a basic island. I would not have expected that. Right, so you want to tap draw main phase right here? Or sorry, in their upkeep, excuse me? I'm trying to understand your play, MJ. Like, sure, our opponent's at 10. The Snapcaster Bolt represents 3 more points of damage. The attack from the Snapcaster Mage. I guess I'm trying to understand how, because it doesn't seem like my opponent has much. So, like, I think I can still keep playing the control game a couple more turns before I have to, like, start trying to turn the corner. Like, sure, my opponent's drawn 2 cards since we said that, but... Whoa, Gavany Township. Yeah, that's what the plan is here. This is weird. So this is a very odd attack. So the casting roll front now represents, let's see, just tap these for this, and then it's 1, 5. So then I'm representing lethal. They're representing a township activation. It's a very odd play to me. Alright. Just not going to play my Snapcaster and just pass. Well, the reason for it to attack is my opponent's trying to get me to, like, flash on a Snapcaster there and then bolt the voice. At which point they can just cast, like, Wolf Run out the Noble. Alright, so here... Snapcaster, bolt this voice, the token gets pumped. I take 1, I crack back, and then Damnation. And by crack back, obviously, I assume they're going to block, but I've seen sillier things in my life. Again, big goal here is just to make sure there's no creatures on the battlefield that are going to attack me going into the next turn. All of the elementals. Alright, what do you think the odds are my opponent blocks when I attack? Do you think it's 100%? I think it's probably 100%. Obviously, attacking here doesn't mean any difference because I can't beat a unified will anyways based on the line we've taken. Thankfully, somebody pointed out in the chat, opponent can't have a Spell Queller if they try to Gavany Township. But they could have an additional copy of Unified Will. If they do, that's fine. Okay, negate it is. Wasn't beating negate the way I played the game anyways. Alright, so definitely played stupidly game 1, but learned that our opponent can have main deck Spell Quellers. That's good to know. Not used to that deck playing main deck Spell Quellers at all. Also just like fundamentally horrible play because I have 5 million cryptic commands in my hand. What's up, Commune? Oh my god, I didn't even recognize what this was at first. Ugh. Alright, I don't know, whoever talked me into playing this Blood Crypt Art, I don't know if we can do this ever again. This thing's not real pretty. Basic Swamp Inquisition off of a Delta. This is like Grixis Delver, maybe? I assume my opponent takes my Serum Visions because my hand just looks atrocious. Alright, this will prevent him from playing any 2-mana spell. Sure, you got it. What you want? Take your pick. Alright, there's some sort of nonsense Grixis deck, I guess. Alright, Shocker sells a Blood Crypt here. Our opponent can't really have Liliana based on the plays they've made, but it would be fairly shocking to me if they did, but I'm still just going to shock myself, as I don't think there's any reason to just not leave a Counter Squall this turn. Johnny, my plan is just to stream this league and then do another thing. Alright, Esper. Okay, cool. Is this some Souls That Linger? It's a Geist of Saint Traff. My hand's really bad against that card. In fact, it's quite poor, and now that I've shocked myself, I'm in quite a poor spot. Okay, that is fine. So we'll get us a Watery Grave. Gonna need to find a critter. Got a decent hand to protect some sort of creature, but obviously our opponent's onto the board first after 2 discard spells, so this is a really bad spot to be in. Is this the Lingering Souls? Is it Tassagoyf? Huh. Okay. not gonna bolt it here, I don't think. You could just get a water grave still. You can like shock ourselves with the steam vents, double bolt this nonsense. But then I still can't hold up counter squall if I draw a Tassiger. Yeah, that just all doesn't seem very good to me. I'd much rather just go like bolted, Snapcaster, bolted if I get there. Yeah, that seems way better to me. Alright, well, given that we bricked again, we'll just go ahead and double bolt this nonsense now. Feels like my opponent either just has a stop in my draw step that they are unused to clicking through, or they have a Vendilion click in their hand. I don't know which one's more likely, but... Awesome, Johnny, I'm stoked. That's really great. Z, I've seen a few lists play it, but yes, it's pretty infrequent. It's like a 1 to a 2 of usually, at the most. And then there's more hand disruption after sideboard. Concede fast effect. Yeah, Geist is saying trap plus 2 discard spells, and her hand was bad against Geist. That's what happens when you shut the wrong answers to a fight, right? Was another Tassiger? That was a Gurmag fish. So our opponent's hand was just terrible outside of his discard spells. That's unfortunate. The push. Push seems pretty horrendous in this matchup. Alright. Bunch of nonsense and medium stuff. Let's get Damnation in here. Let's get a Negate in here. Get the Fulmies in here. Anger's like reasonable-ish. Push, get out of here. Dispels, you're good. Get in. So what other nonsense can we expect from our opponent? We could possibly expect Lingering Souls as a reason to bring in as a Staticaster. The problem is it doesn't deal with Geist of St. Traft, which is part of the reason why I'm not the biggest fan of it and more likely to bring in an EE or an Anger of the Gods. Remember this matchup, I don't have many cards to board out. Remember that being one of my issues. Alright, all these bolts suck. Cryptics are expensive. My opponent's deck doesn't really fight well through it. Bolts, get away from anger. You're angering it. I can definitely cut some Serum Visions. They're not fantastic. Bringing in situation cards like Dispel is also a little sketchy if my opponent's already shown a propensity for just mass discard. So there's a merit to just not have the Dispels in until I see a reason to play Dispels. I think I want a second answer to Geist, though. There's no E in my main deck, Dylan. With this list that we're currently playing, there's no Engineered Explosives in the main deck. Proton, I never cut Kolaghan's Command. I think the card's too important fundamentally to how the deck functions. Basically, cards that I will never shave a copy of are Kolaghan's Command, Snapcaster Mage, and that's it. Oh, and I don't think I've ever cut a land yet. Definitely matchups you cut Visions, definitely matchups you cut Serum. Sometimes you'll shave one Thought Scour. I've shaved one Tassiger before. I've definitely shaved Cryptics in the past, and I'm considering shaving one right now. You definitely cut all the removal in some matchups. Yeah, the only cards that don't move are Snapcaster and K-Command. I will always submit 4 copies of Snapcaster, and always submit 3 copies of Kolaghan's Command every chance I get. I considered even playing a 4th Kolaghan's Command right now, because the metagame is just like all this grindy nonsense of people trying to fight the Death Shadow decks. And it's just like having more K commands to fight through all the discards. It's just like another way to win the game on the spot when you draw this card. Alright, I think we're going to play an EE. Let's get the good art of EE in there. Alright, which one of these silly cards are we cutting? Probably a Cryptic. Possibly a Spell Snare. Yeah, screw it, just cut a Negate. I'd rather figure out what my opponent's doing first before I just board up more counter spells. Well, it might not be. I expect my opponent to have Snapcaster Mages, but maybe they don't. Well, this hand's horrendous. This hand's bad, but a keep. It's like really bad. Yeah, it's really bad. I hope I see a land on top so I don't have to crack. Alright. Plan here, bottom that Thought Scour, of course. Probably not fetching unless our opponent hand disruption spells us. If they hand disruption spell us, we're going to Thought Scour ourselves. If they don't, I think I'm just going to not crack. Alright, well, now we have to crack for Watergrave. Let's scour ourselves, hopefully hit a land here. We mill over 2 lands, that's not great. Not a good strategy. Not a great strategy. Reinhard, whenever you have too many cards, basically any time where you have too many good cards for a matchup, I cut Serum Visions. That happens occasionally. You also will sometimes do it in matchups that are just like hyper quick and you have too many pieces. I've cut Serum Visions before when I had too many cards against Infect. I've cut it against Revolt Zoo before when I had too many cards. Basically, I think that Thought Scour is so much better than Serum Visions in this deck that it's correct to go down to 0 copies of Serum Visions before it is correct to it's correct to go down to 0 copies of Serum Visions and 4 copies of Thought Scour than it is before you cut a copy of Thought Scour. Whereas I used to cut copies of Thought Scour and it was just like very clear I just did not know how to play this deck well enough. But now I just never cut a Thought Scour. Like almost never. The times you cut Thought Scour are basically when you're going down on Delve Threats. Alright, opponent, did you leave in Fatal Push to Fatal Push my Snapcaster Mage? I would be impressed. Doesn't look like it. Alright, there we go. Back in business. Back in business. How are we gonna wheel and deal here? Could go down to 14. Get a Steam Bench. Blow up this giant zombie fish. Probably what I'm going to do. The other line of play is to just play a Fulminator Mage to block zombie fish and pop one of their lands. I think that's fine also. I don't know if that's better, because then if my opponent somehow, like, Thought Scours themselves and gets another giant monster from, you know, Gurmag World, I'm not going to be too pleased. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Consideration here to get a Blood Crypt. As it is possible, I'm going to need double red here on a future turn. Or, excuse me, double black, not double red. There's like no red cards left in my deck after sideboard. Yeah, I think I'm going to get a Blood Crypt. Reason for Blood Crypt is it allowed me to play a Tassiger more easily if I happen to draw an island and then still leave up other spells. Alright, get Reg Zombie Fish. Doing it main phase also, as I just don't want to get counterspelled. Awesome, thanks DCS. Glad you're here. Oh my god, it's a Liliana the Veil. We're just getting decimated. This is a blowout! Yeah. Yeah, Baka, it would have worked out better. Maybe. Who knows? There's like different stages of bad, and this is like pretty high up on the list of stages of bad. Alright, so my opponent makes us discard a card here. Current plan is I'm likely to Fulminator this turn. Try to just trade for the Geists. My opponent clearly has just a billion lands. Then I would discard Terminate to the Liliana. On the next turn, try to K-Command, make them discard, kill the Liliana. And go from there. The other option is, obviously, if they play like a Tassiger or something, we need to reevaluate the situation and potentially go Snapcaster Mage plus Terminate. And if they play a second Geist, we have to Snapcaster on their turn and Terminate to get around Liliana. So the question here is, if do we want to play this land? And I think we just need to, because we're very likely to need to get 4 mana. So we'll do that. Oh yeah, Brian, it is rough. Delicious waffles. I haven't felt like you need it. I tried it for a while when Eldrazi was a bit more popular. I think it's starting to dip on popularity because people are starting to realize it doesn't beat Death Shadow. And I don't know, I just haven't felt like I needed a second Damnation. The only thing I'd ever board in it against would be Eldrazi. And even then, I don't think that match was bad. I think if I played a 100-game set against an Eldrazi player, like game ones, I would say they probably win like, I don't know, close to 66 times. But if we played post boards, I think I'm a reasonable favorite. Alright, well that's good. Raid boss down. Killed the Geist. I would love to discard a Terminate. Hey, there's another Geist. Alright, yeah, we'll go to 3. Unlikely we need double red. Seems like no reason not to have it, though. So the plan here is to Snapcaster Mage, terminate whatever it is, the Angel that is, and then block the Geist. And then when our opponent pluses, likely just discarding. Just planning to discard Snapcaster, it gives it away. That's the weird thing. It does just give it away. I guess this K command's not actually doing a whole heck of a lot. Alright, get out of here, K command. Jamming blue-white control. Nice, Spawn. How goes it? Are you crushing? Yeah, no, but I mean they have high-impact cards. I mean, that is one of the benefits of playing white cards, is some of your cards are just A-pluses, home runs. And when you draw your A-plus home runs, you just feel like the best thing ever. Alright, I think the likelihood of this working is like low to medium low, but if it works, this is sweet. Snapcaster resolving makes me optimistic. Guess I should technically block first. Alright. Reason to like technically block first is in case my opponent like screwed up and didn't mean or forgot to path my guy first. Get the opportunity to do that, but I just assume this is getting negated. Alright, got dispelled. We're died. We died. Things are not going well so far tonight. RIP. I would assume that matchup's not very good, considering they just have a bunch of discard creatures that don't die to removal, and then giant monsters, and then planeswalkers. Seems like a living hell of a matchup. Seems like you really have to draw on Ancestral Visions to be in a good spot there. Johnny, that's sweet. Yeah, Dylan, Condemn is very good right now. What do I think about Abzan in the current meta? I think Abzan is like just as solid as it usually is. Not a big fan of Lingering Souls, but if the metagame does play out to the point where the only things that really beat up the Death Shadow decks are the 3-color nonsense decks, like Grixis, Esper, Jeskai, Jund, Abzan, Sultai, I'd be hard-pressed to believe beats them. So it's probably just those 5, because you have access to Path or Fatal Push, plus like cards that go over the top of them, or equivalent number of cards plus Fast Clock. Seems pretty reasonable. And then Lingering Souls, I think, would go up in my estimation if those decks are as good as I think they are. And then if people keep playing nonsense like Scapeshift, I mean, just get Lingering Souls out of your deck. It's just not a magic card. Which is one of the nice things that starts that whole rotation again. But one of the, kind of lame things about Death Shadow is it doesn't allow things like Ad Nauseam and Tron. Those are just not decks. You just can't play those when Death Shadow is the best thing going on. Magic Master, it's kind of tricky. If you're playing Grixis, the biggest thing you can do against it is just like constantly cryptic them. Like, don't ever fight over the Lingering Souls themselves. Just fight over just alphaing them every turn. Yeah, Jin, we're getting crushed. It is brutal. Alexis, I think Scrud's in a pretty horrendous spot right now where if you fall behind, you can't keep up. Like, you have Haymaker cards, like you have Blood Moon. You could theoretically play Chalice of the Void if you wanted to. You get Relics. But the thing is, like, when you fall behind the 8-ball, you're playing a deck that is not good at seeing many cards, and you're also trying to be a reactive deck, and your cards that are Haymakers don't just win the game on their own. Like, Blood Moon doesn't catch you up when you're behind. It wins the game when you're stable or ahead. Chalice of the Void's also in that same vein. Relic can try to help you out when you're behind, but it's just not super effective at it. Alright, this hand's a keep. Yeah, Dokkaemoy, like I said, I played some Tron, and that deck is just not a Magic the Gathering deck in my mind. Props to people with Tron that can win matches. I don't know how you people do it. Alright, don't want a Cryptic. We'll take a third land. All the removal in the world. Blooming Marsh. Alright, so we're either up against Abzan, Jund, or Lantern, more than likely. In theory, we could also be up against some sort of black-green deck, but it can't be Deathclaw, because Deathclaw doesn't usually play IOK. Taking the Lightning Bolt pretty heavily signifies that this player is on Jund or Abzan, as that seems like a card that you would take only to protect a Dark Confidant. Thing is, with the Dark Confidant, if they have a Dark Confidant, I'm just going to fetch a tap land here with a Delta. I'm leaving up Terminate here, in case it's like a Goyf or something that I just really need to kill to keep on top of the game. But if they just slam a Dark Confidant here, I'm potentially just going to K-Command. Just like let it hit and then I'll K-Command. Alright, preserve our life total a little bit. It's possible they are just a black-green X deck, or just black-green no X. Excuse me. Dokkaemoy. I don't know, there were some interesting things going on with that deck when I was playing it. There was a lot of decisions going on, but like the decisions didn't feel like I had any impact over what was going on in the game. I was just getting my ass kicked each turn. So it was super miserable. Like, you certainly have to make tough decisions, like trying to figure out when to hold on to stars and spheres was like one of the hardest things for me, and trying to figure out if I should be relicking my opponent to play around like them strip mining me, and then oh, they're black-green Infect? Holy crap, I haven't played against this in years. Okay, well, I'm definitely going to shock up and try to terminate it. I expect them to blast me defenses, and then I'll K-Command. Shock discard. Okay, I literally have not played this matchup in years, so let's try to not throw this one like I threw earlier. Red, black. Get off my table. Of note, the pro-red, pro-white creature is very good in this matchup, if I recall correctly. Yes, I think we have one copy of Fatal Push and Tassiger are really our only ways to interact with that. Is there any reason we don't want to just fetch a second Steam Vents? I can't really think of one. Guess we should do this first, so we get the full information of what's going on over there. Like, maybe our opponent has, what's it called? Mutagenic Growth. We would probably change how we're Serum Visioning if that happened. Alright, they discarded Might of Old Corrosa. Just wanted to turn a land sideways. What's the non-standard legal card? Oh, yeah. Thought it was standard legal black-green. That'd be hilarious. Yeah, the pro-red, pro-white guy. I don't remember its name. Ooh, Fatal Push. That's good against pro-red, pro-white guy. I think my plan here is I will top both of these cards likely in the opposite order, as I'm more likely to want the K-Command, as my opponent had a third land and they just didn't play a Plague Stinger. So, yeah, I'll top Fatal Push, top K-Command in the opposite order. So if we don't want the Fatal Push, we can reevaluate and mill it over with Thought Scour. But it is likely from this spot that I'm just likely to K-Command whatever my opponent plays this turn, and pass with the Thought Scour up. Alright, Inky it is. We're just going to F6 through our turn here. So we don't want to do anything. We're also not going to pick a fight over our opponent's Inkmoth Nexus. Just going to let it hit us for one and try to end up. Blast it a little bit. By blast it, I mean shatter it and make them discard. Might of Old Corrosa. That resolves. I will like to go to 5 poison. Ooh, I don't think they should play that land there. I think that's a mistake. I can't imagine anything that they could possibly have that would make that play correct. Like, I just don't know what cards you can possibly have, or getting a 5th mana source on the table is important there. Because they need to protect this as it's their last threat, and then I'm also getting a card out of their hand. They had a become immense. Okay. Playing, I'm still just going to draw that Fatal Push, because I think it's probably a good card. Obviously, it's one of my only outs, as we said, to... So I don't know the silly card's name. So Mirran Crusaders is probably Phyrexian Crusader. Hey, look at that. Phyrexian Crusader. Everyone in the chat's already on it. Thanks, guys. Evan, I don't know. I'm an old, cranky old man. Probably not, Casfiend. I'm just going to burn my Cryptic Heroes. I just kind of want to get spells out of my hand. Not spells out of my hand, but like trade my opponent's resources. Like, I want to protect my removal spells. And if they don't have a threat on the table, it's difficult for me to die. So if they play a threat here, I can just Fatal Push it. Also, I'm drawing 10 trillion cards next turn. It's like the approximate number, or the exact number, depending on who you talk to. Ooh, look at all those magic cards. Alright, so we could go for a Snapcaster Mage, discard Shock here, but I think that's like fundamentally a bad play just because you can get got by your opponent, and it would be really, really horrible if they become immense in response and you lose the game. So we're not going to lose the game, because I think it's like not a fun way to lose. Meantime, I think we can Thought Scour ourselves, Snapcaster, Lightning Bolt, and play Tassiger. Trying to think if there's any reason to not do all of that. Big reason to be wanting to still have Kolaghan's command access. Because we want to play 2 black spells. If we play our Fatal Push, we don't have Counter Squall up. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and Thought Scour first. We could just play Cryptic, hold up Cryptic with Tassiger. That's actually probably fine. Yeah, we'll just do that. I think it's the boring play, though. Yeah, I'd rather just kill my opponent's creature. Killing my opponent's creatures is just, like, way more fun. When they don't get to play Magic, I'm just so much happier. Alright, blue. Blue, get our Bolt on. Hopefully I clicked on Lightning Bolt, not Thought Scour there. That would have been embarrassing. Oh, wait, I wasn't done with you. Yeah, Alexis, it is way more fun when in your own decks. You have a sense of, like, pride and a sense of, like, part of you is there fighting with that deck. Alright, so we want the Dispels. They're a bit more mana efficient. Want the Fatal Pushes. I think we want the EEs in this matchup, but I could be wrong on that. We'll have to figure that out. The Damnation might also be playable. To figure out what our bad cards are. Spell Snare. Let's see what a Spell Snare hit. Hits their Plague Stingers, hits the Spell Skite. I wouldn't expect them to have Apostle's Blessing anymore. That would seem a little loose to me. These Cryptics are medium on the draw. We can definitely shave 1 or 2 of them. The Ancestral Visions I usually cut against blue-green, in fact. Do you think a second snare is better than a second push? Craze, yes. I've considered putting a 3rd snare back into the sideboard, so yes, I think so. Do you think Bant or Tron Eldrazi is tier 1? Well, I think Bant Eldrazi is tier 1 based on the amount that it performs relative to the percentage of it that shows up. Both lots of players play it, and lots of players do at least reasonably with Bant Eldrazi. I do not think Eldrazi Tron is tier 1. Modest age, I'm between 15 and 48 years old. Yeah, I'm 25 now. Yeah, I'm 25, Druck. I think I like Boom Bust too much. Evan, that's not a problem. Boom Bust is hilarious and fun. Yeah, I leave in Snare against the blue-green ones just because it's so great at just killing the Blighted Agents. Maybe it's just too bad. Alright, definitely want this push, definitely want these EEs. Maybe want the second E, maybe want the Damnation. The Damnation seems like pretty medium. CE also seems like pretty medium. I think I'm more likely to want a Damnation and another Cryptic. Yeah, I think I'm into this. I think these Ancestrals are fine. Maybe they're bad on the draw and I should shave a couple. Alright, maybe they're bad on the draw and I'll shave a couple. Kinda want this 1 snare. Seems reasonable to me. Alright, I'm gonna leave 1 snare in. 1 snare, 1 EE, 1 damnation. Call it a day. Leaving the counter squalls because they trade for pump spells. Evan, I don't think that's the case at all. Fulminator Mage is really bad here. It only hits the Ink Moth. Like, if my opponent showed me Sylvan Scrying and put it face up, like, going into sideboarding, and they just said, this is in my deck, I'm presenting this card, then, yes, I might have a Fulminator in my deck. But it's so easy to deal with the Ink Moth Nexuses that I just don't see that being a reliable strategy, as it's so difficult for my opponent to draw enough lands that they can actually, like, combo kill you correctly with Ink Moth. I would also prefer that if they were 3 colors, maybe, and had counter spells. That also seems unlikely. So they kept 6 and put their card on top. Given that, I'm likely to bolt this, as I just can't afford my opponent to play Phyrexian Crusader this turn. It also is fine because I have an extra bolt for a Plague Stinger or Glistener Elf if that happens to come down. Oh, maybe I don't have an extra bolt. I can't read my hand. I don't know why I thought I had 2 bolts. I thought the Steam Vents was the second bolt, I think. That's weird. Okay. No, this is fine then. If Phyrexian Crusader comes down, it's going to be awkward, but not the end of the world. And I would have shocked myself 100% of the time there anyways. So I'm going to Thought Scour or Snare or something. Inquisition targeting me. Well, given that information, I will bolt this stupid noble, which is a little unfortunate. Right, will I bolt this noble? I guess I don't have to. Yeah, screw it. You can have my bolt. I don't want it. Well, I have not played Grixis Shadow yet myself, but every time I've played against it, it's just been a blast. Snap, I don't like Delver as a card right now, so I greatly prefer Grixis Control. That's why, hopefully part of the reason why you're here watching it is I'm the Grixis Control guy. Yeah, Evan, I think Grixis Delver is just also worse than Grixis Death Shadow. Oh, I'm hitting F2 on Twitch chat. That's funny. That's probably why it doesn't work. Hopefully trying to not F6 for too many more turns. Death Shadow Jund is better than Bearish Rival? I mean, depends. How cute are the teddy bears? I would probably hang out with the teddy bear tribal. That sounds super fun to me. Ooh, a damnation. Oh no, we mill over a water grave. Not great. Basic Island. Well, I will play Basic Island, so it doesn't cost me any life. Does let my opponent know one of the 2 cards I drew, but I just don't think that's super relevant when not really concerned with their silliness that's going on just yet. Yeah, no reason to bolt any one of these things, as we're not dying to the nobles right now. Glistener Elf. That is something we could die to. Shock is better than bolt if your opponent is misdirection. Yeah, I mean, I guess technically that's somewhat true. I mean, if I'm at 1, 2, or 3, as Evan said, yeah. Alright, Searing Visions, that's a goodie. Let's try to find ourselves a black source. A Fatal Push and a Scalding Tarn. I will top both of these, but I am unlikely to wait for the Fatal Push. That would be my guess. Yeah, that'll be my guess. Is I'm unlikely to wait for the Fatal Push, but I will leave it on the top. I'm not going to shock myself here. My opponent's already represented that they're not willing to attack with Noble Hierarch, so I'm not willing to shock myself. As I think that they should realize they need to switch gears and start dealing damage. Rancor targeting Noble Hierarch. Alright, props to my opponent. They're moving in. I'm proud of them. I do kind of want this Rancor dead, so this is why I'm willing to trade a bolt here for a pump spell. If I don't have to trade for a pump spell, I prefer that, but... Alright, Vines of Vastwood. Can't get targeted by that, so I'm going to take an 8-ball here. On our turn, we can K-command that into Bolivian. And I'll have to suit the Rancor on the other Noble. So that puts us to 7. We could just play the Tassiger. Could just play the Tassagoyf. Seems pretty bad to me. I'd rather just take 3 damage off this Noble going to 4 and just have them top decking. Sure, they have a bunch of spells that just kill me, but... I think it puts me in a better spot overall. Getting the other water grave that we have remaining. I do not want to return my Staticaster, no. I would like to make you discard your last Magic the Gathering card and kill your creature. Alright, so now hopefully our opponent just draws some Infectors, as their hand does not play well. Yeah, then I was pretty sad that my only GP final so far was against a deck that I had never played against in my life. I had played against, like, variants of it, but I had never played against one that had, like, Relics and Blood Moons and all of that main deck. I had played against versions that had, like, Simian Spirit Guide, and they were trying to accelerate out Blood Moon. Yep. I will take 3. Well, I didn't die, that's positive. Close enough. Hey, they drew an Infector. Good for us, good for us. Ooh, I can go to 1. Go to 1 in Damnation. Seems pretty good to me, actually. All you need is 1. Do 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 do. All you need is 1. Do 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 do. Alright, hopefully this Damnation's great, because we're casting it. Time to evaluate. Was killing 2 1-mana creatures worth it? Answer, no. Probably not. But we did it. So, we live with the decision we've made. Alright, draw land, good for us. Hopefully they don't have a Dryad Arbor. They should. They should in fact have a Dryad Arbor in their deck. Alright, let's see. What do we not ever want back? We don't want our Damnation. Is that true? No, it's not actually true, because our Fatal Push is turned off from killing their big guy. So there is a world in which I somehow, over the course of the game, need to Damnation and kill that giant monster. I don't need this Thought Sky, I don't need the Serum Visions. I could use the Staticaster in some weird world. Yeah, I'll leave the Staticaster in there. K-Command I definitely want, Cryptic I definitely want. So we'll just exile down to 1 bolt, so I don't want to get 2 bolts back in a row. Alright, I missed out on some things, let's catch back up. To be fair, you lost because your mana base is super down on tempo. Yeah, I mean, kept 2 Steam Vents, was kind of asking for it. Inquisition, I should activate in response so my opponent doesn't have the information of what to give me back, I believe. And then they'll probably just Inquisition the K-Command anyways. That's fine. Gotta be honest, I just found the stream and watched. Your videos have made me a way better Magic player. Awesome, I'm so stoked to hear that, Awful. I don't think you're awful, so there's that. Evan, if you've got the money to shell out for it, go ham on it. Oh man, we milled another Tassiger? That sucks. I just know that building the Sultai version, it would be expensive. Alright, I don't think I'm going to attack this turn, I just want to get my creepy tar pet out there first. That was part of the reason to Tassiger first, is I wanted to try to get a second removal spell. Reason to not attack is I don't want to just get killed by a Dryad Arbor. However, now, we're in a spot where... Oh, darn, they're going to give us a Thought Scour. Probably going to mill them with that Thought Scour, so I don't want to fill up my graveyard with other garbage. So my graveyard would still be all good stuff. I just could draw cards. Nope, still going to Thought Scour myself. Alright, milled over a Terminate, got an Ancestral off of it. Ooh, a Terminate. There we go. Okay. Now we can start moving and grooving. We could line up a block with a Creeping Tar Pit. Oh, no, hold on. We'd be in a spot where it still died to a protection spell. That's so annoying. So annoying. Alright, whatever. We'll wait one more turn then. Probably shouldn't have suspended that Ancestral shot. Probably should have just animated the Tar Pit and attacked. The reason to not attack here is my opponent can get the Dryad Arbor, Rancor it up, and then if they have a protection spell, I die to the trample damage over top of the creepy Tar Pit. So I'm just in a spot where I'm just going to keep drawing cards. And yes, its name is Creepy Tar Pit. What's up, Brennan? Thanks, Druck. I appreciate it. Okay, so they didn't give us back E, and instead gave us back a Thought Scour again. We'll definitely Thought Scour myself again. Alright, there's a K command. Alright, now we're kind of doing it. We are kind of doing it. Alright, let's get in there and rumble with Tassagoyf. Now, if our opponent has 2 Dryad Arbors, they can try to get us, but I'm not here to play hopscotch. There does become a point where, like, my opponent could draw out of this and, like, actually kill me. Oh, do they just not have a Dryad Arbor in their deck? I would be shocked. Holy crap, they don't? Wow, I did not think that was possible. Okay, that's weird. I kind of look a little silly now, but that's fine. Whatever. I'm happy looking silly. If silly's the worst thing that happens to me, then I'm fine. Alright, come back, Snappy Doo. We need you. Discarded Vines. So I Snapcaster Bolt here, puts him to 2. I don't have any way to kill him on board unless I also animate the Tar Pit, but we've already gone over this before, where I really like to just kill myself for some reason on stream, so we just won't go for that. There's just no reason. Our hand's insane. Ooh, do you think I should tap out now that I have a Cryptic? I've already done that once tonight. It'd probably be a good play. Yeah, Timmy, we opened one last night, and I asked, do we play Blood Crypt version A or Blood Crypt version B? I've determined that this one bothers me so much that I'm taking it out after this week. Do I have a good Immortal Rocket Rabbit list? Oh, okay, you're asking hex questions. I was like, what in the world is this? I honestly don't know what you guys call the Immortal Rocket Rabbit, so I'm going to hope that Immortal, I hope we're talking Immortal format, and I'm hoping the rabbit would be Runic Hierophant. I'm just praying that that's what it is. As far as Rocket, are you talking Boris Blastforge as in, like, giving it flight for the turn? What's up to Terry? How are you doing? You were an Enter the Gungeon. I don't know what that thing is, but that's pretty sweet. Enter the Gungeon. You really think so, Zronium? I'm not sure if I believe that. I mean, I guess art is all fairly subjective in terms of opinions of what is appealing to some people and appealing to others. I was just trying not to make the same mistake that I had made earlier, in all honesty. Dude, I know, Mush. What are you doing awake right now? So it's 10:30 my time, and you're 7 or 8. I think you're 8 hours ahead, so it's 6:30 your time, right? What are you doing awake right now? This hand's not very good, but I think I'm going to keep it. Yeah, I'm going to keep. That's my usual thought process of looking at my hand is I have 2 spells and 5 lands. And I'll probably keep. Just in case you're wondering of how I determine whether or not to keep a hand. Just like, I just look at it, it's like, this is playable, I guess. Alright, they play a Dark Confidant here. I will fetch up a Blood Crypt, I believe, to kill it. Blood Crypt, or I want a Watery Grave. The push is nice. The Bolt will help combo with the K command to deal with the Lily. It's probably correct to use the Fatal Push, as sad as that is. And creature instant. Be a 3/4. Yeah, as depressing as it is, I think it's correct to use the Fatal Push here. If I had a Creeping Tar Pit, it would be, I think, an easier decision. I'd love to pay 2 life. I don't like life. Boom. Sorry, Bob. Brian, I don't know if I'm a superhero. Yeah, Alexis, it's nicer when one of those cards is just like an Ancestral Visions, though, because you just look at your hand like, well, I'm not going to interact with my opponent, and I'm not going to do anything productive. So at least you have some plan. Like, 5 turns from now, I'll be set. Yeah, there's the Tarmogoyf. That sucks. That sucks. I feel silly. Okay, so they just don't have a Liliana. That's kind of brutal. Ugh, and Thought Scour on myself now is so bad. Alright, time to find a Snapcaster Mage anyways. Snapcaster. Hey, look at that. We did it. We did it, chat. Oh, no, and we drew an Ancestral? Man. Running well above expectation. Trying to think if I can take 3 points off this Goyf here and then flash the Snapcaster Mage in on end step, just in case my opponent does have a Lily. But I think it's also fine for me if they play a Lily and just Mightinose on my Snapcaster. I'm definitely just going to do it on their upkeep, though, so... do I want to fetch an island? I would probably prefer to fetch an island, so we should do that. So then I can play the basic swamp the next turn. Yeah, okay, that's my plan. I'm going to fetch an island on their... whenever, sometime during their turn, before I take damage from the Tarmogoyf. Snap the Fatal Push. If my opponent decides to Liliana, my hand's really good against Liliana, I just kind of don't care. I actually want her to sit and play for a couple turns and make its discard. So, I'll probably let them plus 1 additional time, discard my Scalding Tarn to it, and then K-Command, buy back my Snapcaster Mage, and make them kill their Liliana, and then look to bolt this Raging Ravine at some point in time. Alright, get Island. Snapcaster backer. Fatal Push. This Taskcaster, Tasker designed for me at GP Vancouver, took me to 4 on Modern the other day. Admiral, that's freaking awesome. Next time that I see you in person, you need to let me know that you are Admiral in chat. So I don't know which of the 2 people that I signed Tassigers for you are. But it's always, like, exceptionally flattering to me, like, when people come up and they're like, hey, can you sign these cards? Like, I had somebody ask me to sign their Snapcaster Mages, and I literally stopped the person. I was like, you do understand how much money these are worth, right? And I'm just going to ruin these. Like, just please don't let me do that. And, no, the kid was so nice. He was just like, no, you're awesome. Like, you're the reason I bought into this deck. And he was just so stoked that I would sign him for him. So I was like, absolutely, I'm not going to say no at that point. Alrighty here. So, I kind of want us to spend this Ancestral, like, pretty exceptionally badly. I also really want to get my Snapcaster Mage back. I also kind of want to leave a Bolt to kill the stupid Raging Ravines. There's a lot of things I want to do. Can't do all of them, unfortunately. If I don't suspend the Ancestral Visions this turn, I am potentially dangling it. The fact that my opponent fetched a basic means they have to have another land in their hand, though, for this Raging Ravine. So I think I'm going to make my decision based on what they discard here to this Kolaghan's Command. Basically, if they discard a land, I'm going to think about it, and if they don't discard a land, I'm absolutely not sacking the Scalding Tarn. So if they discard a spell here, we're holding up Bolt no matter what. They discarded a land. Alright, I'm still going to wait. I think it's skeptical, though. Johnny, I may or may not. I can't give it to you, though. As a developer on the game, that would not be ethically okay for me to do. I'm sorry. Why don't we just bolt the Bob? Guessing save. Yeah, Patriot, the plan was to save it for the Liliana, or at least that was my intention. Alexis, the best way to cheat an Ancestral is probably with Yahenni's expertise in terms of, like, cards you could play in Grixis. K-Command, buy back my Huntmaster, kill your Snapcaster. Fair enough. Hope I draw a Cryptic Command. I'm not going to be bolting this wolf anytime soon. That wolf can run free. I'm going to fetch another Steam Vents here as I have a basic swamp in my hand. I do want... Ooh, that's a good one. So we can... Serum, Ancestral, hold up K-Command. Yeah, that seems pretty great to me. So let's go ahead and Serum Visions. Flooded Strand, Counterspell, Cryptic. I don't want the Counterspell. I absolutely do want the Cryptic Command, though. Because I want that so badly. I'm going to play the basics still. Suspend our Visions. Hopefully find a spot somewhere down the road to discard this silly Flooded Strand that I don't really need. What card would I prefer to sign? I mean, I'm down to sign whatever card. I was just so surprised that somebody wanted me to sign, like, $50 Snapcaster Mages. Like, a full set of Snapcaster Mages. The gentleman just, like, starts pulling them out of his double-sleeve deck, and he's just, like, so stoked for me to sign them, and I'm like, in my mind, it's like, dude, I just bought my Snapcaster, so I know how much these cost. Like, that would hurt me so much if I just knew that I was ripping them up. But, I mean, it was the thing to him where it's like, no, you're the reason I'm playing with these cards. Like, this means a lot to me. And so I was like, I wasn't going to say no, obviously. Okay, so if I K-command here, make them discard, buy back my Snapcaster, they're going to go to 1 card. And then I can Snapcaster, K-command to get their, their Huntmaster out of their hand. But I won't be able to get back a creature, so I'd have to shock this wolf. I have a Cryptic on top, so that's going to be a little bit dead to this Raging Ravine. But yeah, like I said, I'm down to sign any card. It was just very jarring to me. This was my first time I was signing, like, expensive cards. Like, I'd sign people Serum Visions and Thought Scours before and silly things like that. But having somebody that was like, no, I really want you to sign these Snapcasters, was like, whoa, this is a little weird. Like, this is different for me. Alright, get back Snappy Doo. Kill your hand a little bit. Alright, so Bob and Huntmaster with their cards. Let's pull the Exile pile for just a second. Alright, Snapcaster. Let's see, what do I want to shock? Probably want to shock the wolf. And then if the Raging Ravine comes in... So if they draw a land, the Raging Ravine comes in. Bolt's dead. The Liliana takes up to 3. But I still discard the Bolt. Probably. I could hold up Cryptic. It's a little weird. It's a little weird to hold up Cryptic here. I automatically discard the Lightning Bolt if they try to take up their Liliana. No, that seems too passive to me. A little too passive in my taste. Target player, you and your wolf. Poor wolves. Alright, let's try to catch up to our chat. I'm sorry, buddy. Is it me, is there a delay in the stream? No, Patriot, there's probably like a 10-second or whatever, like... I do notice that if when I ever play with the sound on... Oh no, they drew another Huntmaster off the top? That's brutal. Oh, crap. Oh, that's really bad. That's... Alright, that would have been a reason to leave up Cryptic. Oy vey. Alright, well, let's discard Cryptic then. I'm gonna bolt this Huntmaster out of the way. Alright, bolt your Huntmaster. Attack Snapcaster at Lily. Assume my opponent will trade because they're just going to try to ultimate. Obviously play our land out. Oh, that was really bad for us. And if they draw another... Okay, they didn't draw a red source, thank goodness. Okay. Cryptic. Okay, so I probably just have to bounce this and draw a card immediately. I don't think there's any incentive that I get for, like, letting them resolve this Liliana ultimate. I can beat the Liliana ultimate, I think, pretty easily, but I just don't think there's a reason for me to let them do it. I think I have a higher likelihood to win the game if I just don't let them do that. Alright, so I'm going to have to discard a Cryptic to this Liliana plus. That's fine. Not great, but fine. A friend of mine had Reed Duke at GP Straw design his Future Sight Goist. That's awesome. Oh, Hissing Quagmire. I don't see those very often. So your chat scrolled way up again. In fact, if it wasn't, I was trying to catch up there on chat. Would it be ethical for you to point me into someone else's list online? That I would not be opposed to doing. I think giving you access to the resources that anyone else has and just saying, hey, these are some lists. I'm not going to tell you whether or not they're good or bad, but my best guess is I would take a look at Hex Primal. Hex Primal usually has a bunch of Immortal articles up, it is the Hex Primal Immortal series after all. Take a look at what they have up there. If they don't have any up there, let me know, and I will take a look tomorrow at work and see if I can find some stuff for you. Okay, so in this spot, we're definitely going to be discarding our Scalding Tarns. There's no reason for us to play it. Given the opportunity, I would like to K-command back my Snapcaster Mage and likely make them discard. So I'm going to go ahead and Serum Visions here so we can find. I don't remember if this is game 1. If this is game 1, I need to start playing more quickly, though. That Scour's kind of a dud here. You could play the land there to try to lead up Snapcaster or Cryptic Command. I think that's fine, but... Alright, yeah, we'll get out of here, Scalding Tarn. Expect my opponent to animate the Hissing Quagmire, and I can Snapcaster Mage the K command here. They don't, that's fine. Still going to Snapcaster Mage the K command though. So we will buy back our Snappy Doo. Because where are you? Return target creature. I want Snapcaster. We're going to shock you. We will redirect to your Liliana of the Veil. If my opponent wants to block this Snapcaster Mage with their Hissing Quagmire, I'll absolutely let them. And then my plan is to K-command them in their upkeep or in their draw step, excuse me, to make them discard and Killer Lily. Assuming this attack goes through. If it doesn't go through, we can think about it. Alright, so they're gonna block the Snapcaster, A-OK with me. This will allow me to buy it back one more time, and then I'll also have Snapcaster bolt up for the Raging Ravine if it decides to come in. Yeah, Jeff Hoogland's all over Hex, it's awesome. Yeah, he probably has them listed up also. Each player discards a card, you're not playing your thing first. I'll discard Island. There's an additional, okay. 6. Given the situation, I would expect them to not. So let's turn Snapcaster, shock you. I would like to do that damage to Liliana. Thank you for asking. And then we'll Snapcaster bolt the Lily. And then we'll start getting our beatdown on. Patriot fan, I do believe that you can play like 1/6 Rev. K command number 5. Yeah, the count does check out. I do play lots of Kolaghan's commands. I could see you being frustrated by it. Bolt you, kill your Planeswalker. Ooh, another Ancestral Visions, but I can't leave up Cryptic if I do that. So I would have to go for the draw step. K command if I want to be purely safe. Yeah, I'll suspend it. I don't think I need to be purely safe here. If my opponent wants to let me terminate the Raging Ravine, I'll definitely take it. Opponent, you're unblocked. You can't block anymore. I don't think I really need to kill this Raging Ravine. I'd rather just have the Snapcaster in my hand. Snapcaster is just way better in my hand. Sure. Alright, trigger on the stack. We'll go ahead and Thought Scour ourselves, see what we can find. You don't see a Boris Rabbit list on Hex Primal. Alright, give me a chance to look tomorrow, and I will definitely try to find something sweet for you, though. Alright, Terminate, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Missed you so. Seems like it's been forever since I killed your Raging Ravine. Ooh, Serum Visions. That's lucky. Counter Squall, don't need these lands. Should just keep playing out lands at this point, as it's unlikely another Liliana comes down. I do have an Ancestral coming off Suspend. A Bolt's nice. More insurance. Love the cycle of K command and sap. Yeah, it is a blast. Terminate your Snapcaster Mage. That's fine. How many Snapcasters do I have left? Dark Confidant, that resolves. You're playing out your land? Alright, I will bolt your Bob. Hopefully draw a Cryptic so we can start like Cryptic bouncing our Snapcasters. That's always the biggest fun. Nice choice of basics. Yeah, much. It wasn't my choice. Yeah, Vernon, this one's going favorably. We get to draw 3 extra cards this turn. I still don't even know what game this is. I assume it's game 1. Oh my gosh, another Snapcaster. could say my opponent is dead, because they are dead. D-E-A-D, dead. Dead. Alright, probably won't do that over again, because that sounded really ridiculous. If my opponent had a card in their hand there, I would have upkeep, played Snapcaster, and then gone for a K command. We'll go ahead and Snapcaster. I guess I should leave up that swamp. Snapcaster, K command here, make them discard their card, buy back my other Snapcaster Mage. Again, I could go for a faster kill here, but this is one that basically just ensures the game's over. Buy back Snapcaster, make you discard. My opponent will probably make a comment of how this is like K command number 62,000. And I'll be like, yep, it's just an average day at the office. Bolt them. F6, attack you. Snapcaster, bolt you. Alright, my opponent's on the timeout plan. I can respect it, because obviously I'm very slow when I'm streaming. I wouldn't do it, but whatever. Johnny, I might stream tomorrow night. It'll depend on how I'm feeling after work. I don't think I'm doing anything tomorrow. I'm not planning to do anything tomorrow, but... Corey's basics were so loose. Yeah, Dokkan is right. Rudy Bresco, one of my buddies, helped me set up the stream. Was so tilted by how bad my basics were. He just gave me Guros, and I was like, okay, what do I owe you? And he's just like, no, it'll save me sanity if you just put these in your deck instead. So, that's how we got Guru basics, apparently. Okay, so we got 3 decent cards to bring in. We definitely can cut 2 bolts as per usual. We could, in theory, go down all the way to 1 bolt, but I do like them to help fight the Planeswalkers. Our opponent also has 2 Hunt Masters, which are, like, fairly annoying. So to go 1 extra card here, we could... Spell Snare is better on the draw, because we can just play it on turn 1 to hit a 2-drop. Could just shave a negate effect. Could cut down on a Cryptic, but when our opponent has 4 mana cards, it's, like, way better to have all these Cryptics. Could cut a Serum Vision, but the games tend to drag on pretty long. Alright, yeah, I'm down to cut a Serum Vision. Screw it. The games tend to go very long, which makes Serum Visions better, but the games that you tend to lose as Grixis are the ones that go about 5-6 turns, where they go like Discard Spell, and a Dude, and a Lily. Serum does help you to sort of recover from that, but... this hand's pretty medium. I'm going to keep it, but this hand's like pretty susceptible to just dying a horrible death. That's a good start for us. Snapcaster, I love you, dude, but you're not a very good draw here. 17. Try to draw some extra cards. Am I playing Modern and Orange on Saturday? Not currently planning to, Bach, no. Please don't be a Dark Confidant. Alright, cool. 1-2 Tarmogoyfs, I can deal. I can deal with that. I can take the pain. Probably have to counter Liliana here. Ooh, they're not pre-combating their spell. I think this is a mistake. Ooh, now do I want to get super greedy and try to Snapcaster block? The answer is no. I do think my opponent should just slam their Liliana or their pre-combat, as, like, it's just not really possible for me to try to, like, make that Psycho block there with a Snapcaster. A, they could still have, like, Lightning Bolt or K-Command or what have you in their deck. And... excuse me. My Snapcaster is like one of my best assets. Oh, it's a Fulminator? God, Jesus, I just want to vomit. Alright, later Watergrave. Oh, that's probably not the one I would have killed. Fair enough. Ooh, AJ, thanks for following. Appreciate it. Yeah, Johnny. Let me try to not time out of this game, and I'll definitely shoot you it. Give me 1 second. Alright, so this gets us to 3 cards as Tassigers, then therefore 1 short. Thankfully they killed the Sulphur Falls and not the Watergrave, so we don't have to be concerned of like trying to protect our fetchable red land or fetchable black lands. Inquisition, that's kind of brutal. Kind of have to just counter this. Fortunately it puts a sorcery and an instant in the yard, but I can't also just afford to lose the Snapcaster Mage the longer the game goes. Yeah, let's counter this. We're going to be at like 7 life probably at the end of this turn. Oh, I tapped for red instead of blue. Not good for us to see. Bell, I've tried it before, I really dislike it. Craze, I'm from Alta Loma, California. It's a small little suburb, about an hour, 15 minutes outside of LA, and about an hour north of Orange County, 2 hours north of San Diego. This Cryptic's probably not going to do anything reasonable in the next 7 days, so we probably won't keep that. Oh my god, a Courser Crewfix, jeez. Alright, our opponent's deck is reasonably well set up for this matchup. Alright, bricking on land's really bad. We could Tasker and try to eat up a bunch of the card types in the graveyard. We would eat instant, that's all though. Then we would take a 4-ball, we'd be back at 4, Lily would be on 2 counters. We're not really in a position to beat that. Trying to Snapcaster or Flash in. Doesn't really give us a reasonable strategy either. Also, their card in our hand has to be so insane if they just card a Courser or Kruvix. Alright, I'm just going to send out my Tasker out there to get killed. I don't think that I really have a reasonable way to win this unless I peel off Terminate, though. So that's one of the problems with this. Alright, opponent doesn't go for the kill. It's nice for us. Yeah, it's just Jund right here. Alright. Did in fact have another 2-mana spell, which is what I anticipated, as they had to have something better than a Courser Crufix. Alright, we sort of need Divine Intervention here off this Ancestral. Bolt and Fatal Push would be kind of nice. Fatal Push. Alright, well, we are dead. We are, in fact, currently dead. Alright, well, we're going to pass lower mana open, because that's what we would do if we had Bolt and Push. I just don't know any way our opponent can't go for a kill here. It's one of the unfortunate things. Nope, they're casting a spell. Oh, nope, they're animating the Ravine and mistapping. Okay. Alright, opponent, you figured it out. You figured out how to win the game. Silly Fulminator Mage. Tricks are for kids. It is actually Dokkan. It's like... the Ontario Airport's about 12 minutes from my house. I live very close to where the 210 freeway meets the 15 freeway. Mush. I can assure you my opponent is not Death Shadow. But yes, in the abstract, I guess you do not put 2 Hunt Masters, or 2 or more Hunt Masters, excuse me, in your Death Shadow deck. You could, I just wouldn't recommend it. In fact, if that's possible, but the Courser Crufix is just so good in the matchup, also helps them figure out the best way to sequence the game, and it would help them turn on the Raging Ravine that they had on the battlefield, that it just seemed to me that their card had to be so powerful that it was worth giving up that kind of equity. Like, I just could not imagine their card not being very, very good. Alright, so Flooded Strand here for a Steam Vents, get an Ancestral online. Likely get the other one killed. They might take the Spell Snare and then just try to kill us. If they take the Spell Snare with the discard spell, we will fetch a tapped land, more than likely a Watergrave, and get the other Ancestral online, and then we'll just be in a spot where we're hoping and praying for a few turns. But you do a lot of hoping and praying sometimes with this deck. There are some matchups where you just kind of have to dodge bullets. And the infamous discard spell into Tarmogoyf is sometimes that. So we'll gain a lot of information here based on the spell our opponent takes. My best guess is that they take Spell Snare, and they try to race. Fortunately, we draw another Fetchy Lando. And I would expect my opponent to have a Tarmogoyf here, as a Dark Confidant does not match up well against my Kolaghan's Command. Fortunately do. Rats. Alright, got ourselves a Watergrave. Hope to draw a Terminator or Fatal Push. Did you say another Ancestral Visions? Did you want another Ancestral Visions? Is that what you meant? Wasn't what I meant, but... you know, times are tough. I'm not going to suspend that one. I'm going to leave this Kolaghan's Command up, because I can't afford to fall too much further behind on the battlefield. So I'd expect my opponent to not have a Liliana based on this play. No, yeah, that's actually a thing. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Blue Gear Hulk. I think it's just like a way worse Snapcaster Mage, and that you're just trying to be so mana efficient. You just don't need these like giant 6 mana plays. Like I'm very likely. Oh, good God. Oh my lord. Okay, so I have Snapcaster Mages, Tassigers, and Creeping Tar Pits as win conditions. I only have 2 bolts. So I can't realistically beat a second Lost Legacy. I think I'm going to fire off his K-Command, right? No, I'm not going to. If they want to name K-Command, it's going to be rough for me, but I think that's fine. I think I can win the game with Snapcasters and Tassigers with no K-Commands. More so than I could win the game with just K-Commands, or just Burning's K-Command. Yeah, in fact, if that was what I eventually determined. This is like Kantian vintage. Yeah, Gear Hulk would dodge Lost Legacy. It's hilarious that sounds. Alright, later, Snappies. Alright, game got a little tougher. A lot more fun, but a lot tougher. Alright. I don't think I boarded in. I did not board in a singleton copy of Fulminator Mage, which could have been useful. I don't have a P and Kieran Lar anymore on the list. Okay, so yeah, I'm down to 2 creatures and there are 2 Tassigers. What about LOTV? What is LOTV out of curiosity? Lord of the Vault? Lord of the... I don't know what that is. Someone's gonna have to fill me out. Dual Shark, what's an LOTV? Oh, Lilian of the Veil. Oh, I'm sorry. I had never heard that acronym before. Interesting. Okay. Well, now I know. I've played a Liliana before in the list, but it was in the tap-out versions. This is when I wish I had Jace's Prodigy. God, JVP. Delightful magic card. Ooh, Damnation. Do I want to fire that off right here, right now? Not particularly. I prefer not to, as I think it's likely my opponent just has a Huntmaster. But those... Oh, the Ancestor comes off in one more turn? That's kind of lame. Alright, it's kind of bad to not fire off this Damnation, then. If the Ancestrals weren't coming off, I had to wait one more turn. I would Damnation the next turn. As I want the board state to be as clean as possible. And I thought my opponent had Huntmaster, and they did, so that kind of sucks. But I do have the K-Command to deal with the first one of these things. Alright, found a Lance, that's good. So let's go ahead and you discard, blow up your Huntmaster. And we've Counter Squall open. And then after this other Ancestral resolves, we can determine if we need to suspend this Ancestral as well. Of course I know what JVP is. I called him JVP before that was popular. I remember seeing that card go up on spoilers for $5, and I bought as many as I could. Ooh, yeah, holding those Counter Squall. So smart. So smart. Good job. Good job. Yeah, I bought up a 4 of set and then an additional 4 of set like super quickly. Resold one of them when they jumped to like 25, and then I used to have 4 that sat here right next to my TV screen that I never use. Oh, I forgot. My deck has no action anymore, so I kind of have to suspend this Ancestral, I guess. Alright, well, let's probably Thought Scour ourselves first. I guess I should tap somewhat reasonably. Found an island. Did not mill over any threats, okay. Serum Visions it up. Found a Terminate and 2 more Deltas. Well, I obviously don't want lands, so get out of here, lands. Let's tap you for a Visions and play the creepiest of Tar Pits. And we got Terminate and Counter Squall up. But yeah, I sold off one of those copies, and I used to have one that just sat here next to me all the time. I love JVP. That card's so much fun. Alright, so they play their last card, which is land. If they crack the land here, it's just going to Terminate, I think, now. just going to save ourselves some time, I guess. If they don't eat 2 cards out of my graveyard, be my guest. I kind of have to be really conservative with this Creeping Tar Pit, which is somewhat annoying. Where do I see a deck like Living End in the current Modern metagame? I don't actually know. Like, the matchups that I felt like you were good against, like the nonsense combo decks, are sort of forced out of the metagame by Death Shadow. You might be decent against Death Shadow because you top deck well, but you don't draw many cards and don't see many cards. Well, I guess you'd see a fair amount of cards because of all your dredgers. It might be an okay matchup. You might be good against that. You're okay-ish against all of, like, the nonsense mid-range decks. I don't think you're great, but I think you're, like, a playable deck. It's probably overall okay. Alright. Need to draw some spells. Preferably good ones. And we need to not die to the silly wolf token. In the opposite order. Uh-oh. That's bad. Alright, that's good. I think we're back to attacking. That's a cool race. Put them to 11. They can put us to 4. Can't hold up Fatal Push plus Counter Squall. But yeah, I guess we would need it against a discard spell. Alright. I'm gonna hold back this turn. I might actually even trade the Creeping Tar Pit for a wolf, because we gotta find a tasker eventually and kill our opponent. So they're just snap going to attackers. Given that, I'm just going to go ahead and animate up my land. Try to trade it for the wolf. This probably is making my opponent static that I've sort of pumped the brakes here. Note, if they play a 4-drop creature now, I can Fatal Push it. My opponent has to have drawn a good spell, though, because they didn't animate the Ravine. Or they were just terrified because they were like, well, they didn't activate their Creeping Tar Pit, so what's going on? Brawl Storm is another deck I think it's like pretty medium. You could play it, but when I played it, it's just like it's a tricky deck to play against. So I think you get a lot of advantage against players that just don't know how to play against the deck. Like I certainly made a bunch of mistakes in playing against it. I'm not planning to crack that lane, by the way, if I don't have to. Yeah, maybe my opponent's just pumping the brakes. Not sure. I think it's a deck that when you know how to play against it is just, like, not the best deck ever. It's, like, susceptible to Graveyard Hate. This is firing up the Raging Ravine time. To determine now is time. Susceptible to Graveyard Hate, susceptible to Hand Disruption and Quick Clocks. In all, I just think it's, like, a combo deck that exists. I wouldn't choose to, like, recommend people playing it. Oh no, another Raging Ravine. So I can discard their last card. Yeah, it's probably fine. It's not like I have many creatures to recur. I haven't really liked the Living End mid-range matchup, in all honesty. I found that you get kind of blown out by a bunch of weird different cards. Like Scavenging Ooze, Counter Spells. I guess I may as well play this land for free values. Alright, I'd be surprised if we lost from here at this point. I guess the cards in my graveyard don't matter that much either. Alright. 12 lives to get through, so we need 3 combat phases. 3 combat phases of good action. I think I'm just going to go and Thought Scour myself instead of Taskering. No, we can Tasker. I was kind of concerned of just like milling over good spells and just decking myself, but yeah, Fatal Push taking out mainline always feels great. I mean, Lightning Bolt had done the same thing, and we only ended up presenting like 4 1-mana removal spells in our post-board configuration. But yeah, you definitely feel like really great when you get to do that. No reason to Thought Scour here is I don't want to like open up my Tasker getting killed. Also of note, if my opponent goes to animate their Raging Ravine on their combat step, I'm going to let them attack with it and then bounce it with the Cryptic. My opponent's at 8. I've got a million spells in my hand. I've got Insulation from a Terminate. I've got Insulation from a Liliana. This, I assume, is animate my manland. It is. I'll let them attack and then replay it. Return target permanent to owner's hand and draw a card. That's the modes I like to choose, please. Have you ever been decked while playing this deck? I've won on 0 cards twice, and I usually deck Dredge a lot more than I deck myself. I win a lot of game 2s with this deck against Dredge by decking them. It's kind of fun. Yeah, we can fire off one of these Thought Scours on them, I think. Yeah, let's do it on them. I don't want to mill over any more win conditions. Yep, there's a win condition we needed to protect. Alright, get in there. The Golden Fang. I guess it is actually worth it to Serum Visions here. Lightning Bolt, Cryptic, K Command. Alright, well those are Magic the Gathering cards. I'm going to put the Cryptic second and the K Command first. Pass to my opponent. I think I could like Thought Scour myself right now. I'm trying to think if there's any way I can lose. I guess there's not. You know, let's just Thought Scour them right now. Just draw the kill. So I have a Counterspell backup. Make myself discard to play around. Obstinate Baloth. Oh, I accidentally targeted myself with both? That's fucking awkward. God fucking damn it. Alright, well that was amusing. I apparently targeted them with this card and targeted me with this shock. So that's impressive. Whatever. Well, now they might go for the Raging Ravine kill. That would also be amusing. I thought I clicked on myself first and them second. But whatever. Apparently I didn't. GG Sky Apprentice, that's like a pretty broad question, pretty difficult. Dual Shark, I don't like that because you pretty frequently will activate these Tassigurs. The point count's got to be higher than that. I've got to have made 5 million more mistakes than that. I mean, come on, guys. I think every time you guys watch me, I just like try to throw every game away. Alright, well, kill your Raging Ravine because I obviously have a bolt. I didn't just kill myself. Hopefully my opponent doesn't think I was just like trolling them and being a jackass. I would kind of feel bad if they thought that. Like, I'm not just sitting here trolling them. I'm just like actually a moron. Don't know how to click or read. Yeah, it just does it in the order it's written. And the way it's written, it goes discard. Dang, land draws, the last 3 or 4 draws. I mean, you didn't really have a shot, opponent. Alright, well, we tried to give it away. Timmy, we don't lose to Bolt because of the Counterspell in our hand. Don't worry, you're not dumb. You're not the one that's shocking themselves and making their opponent discard a card when you're trying to play around them discarding a 4/4 out of the battlefield. During your end step, of course, too. He should have kept a red open in case you only have command to bounce his land when you cracked and go to 3. Could have bolted. That is reasonable gifts. The thing is like my opponent doesn't have any ability to bluff at that point. They're kind of just all in and doing their thing. I hope they didn't tilt like that. Okay, this hand's like really good against creature decks and really bad elsewhere. This is still a hand that you're supposed to keep, in my opinion. Let's see. Scalding Tarn is the weaker of the fetches. Nope, they're equally medium because both the basics are in my hand. Alright. Equally medium. You're right, Dokkanwai. I did not play anymore after last night. Oh, man. Am I going to get punished for not playing my basic Swamp by Burn? That's brutal. Alright, fine. Fine, I'm a loser. What do I get to see? Ooh, creepy tar pit. Alright, I'll go to 17. I will go to 17. I'm a big dummy. I'm so silly. Yeah, I could have just played a basic Swamp, but I wanted to develop my blue sources and crack the fetch lands so I fill up my graveyard. Ooh, another Goblin Guide. That's good for me. Don't worry, we got this one on check. Ooh, drew another land. Alright. These Goblin Guides are hooking us up. I'm doing a bad job of, like, trying to play around it, but... What's up, Jared? The Lava of Grims. I think we're just gonna kill this. Yeah, I'm just gonna kill that. I think that's gonna end up dealing 4 points of damage to me if I don't kill it here. Play the creepiest of tar pits, fetch an island on our next turn. Hopefully our opponent doesn't play an Eidolon. They do, such is life. Such is life. Let's see. Plan here is to likely fetch an island, take the hit, try to counter bounce whatever they play. If they just hold it for burn spell, it's going to be a little annoying, but then we'll bounce draw. So we're going to likely end this turn at likely 10 to a Boros Charm would be my expectation. I'll go to 17, I'm a big dummy. Oh gosh. I'm just adding all these awful quotes that people are going to like take out of context. Yeah. Yeah, 5 lands and a Cryptic, AJ. What more could you want in life? In before Lantern? Dude, I love playing against Lantern. The Lantern matchup's fun. I don't know if I'd be able to finish it in time on stream, because I'm really slow when I hang out with you guys on stream. Alright, so we're going to get a 14 here, likely going to 11 off of a Lightning Bolt. But we just want to bounce this, gain tempo back. Return target opponent's center's hand and draw a card. That's the ones I'd like. I have a snare for the Eidolon. Visions. Yeah, that's a card. That's a card, alright. Alright, Counter Squall is more of a card. So now I have an incentive to not actually play this Visions, or to not actually attack this creepy tar pit, as much as I really want to, though. I think it's correct to do so, also. Yeah, I think it's just too bad to not attack the creeping tar pit here. This Ancestral Visions is just, like, not very likely when my opponent has 4 spells in their hand to come off, and I'm going to 8 on their upkeep to this Rift Bolt. Then I likely have to go to 7 off my own Scalding turn, so I just need to kind of get my opponent dead. I really just need to find, like, Snapcaster Mage or Tasker to win this game. And I need my opponent to not draw lands. Not draw lands and not draw 1-mana creatures. Like this card. Assume they're going to bolt me in blockers. Nope. Okay, so they just don't have another 1-mana spell. They're just trying to play on a spell snare that badly. Oh, they have another 1-mana creature. Cringe. Cringe dingy dinge. This is just like all of the bad components of everything. All the bad components of everything. Going to 6 sucks. Going to 4 sucks. Not attacking on my tar pit sucks. Yeah, this is brutal. Alright, we're going to go to 6, as much as I hate it. I think I really just need to find a Tasker here. Tasker or Snapcaster Mage. I think I can win the game with either of those spells if I run well enough. Okay, so we can Snapcaster, push this Grim Lavamancer, stay at 6, hold up Counter Squall and or Spell Snare. I'm automatically blocking the Spear, so I'm leaving this Cryptic on top as well. Yeah. Alright, so we Snapcaster the push the Lava Man. Every time I say Lava Man now, I just want to start singing Rocket Man. Started listening to, like, way different music than I usually do. And it has led to some interesting habits of, like, music I will listen to and start singing. It was a tilt, Jesus. What did we tilt about? I spewed 2 points or 3 points of life this game. I don't deserve to win. I just S6 through your turn. Yeah, Bob, it went really well last night. What's up, Danny? You're currently watching us try to throw another match away, this time against Burn. Have to block here. There's the potential my opponent doesn't fire up a spell to keep their creature alive, and I just need this monetary, so Spear dead. Atarka's command, we will Counter Squall, as we just want to burn our most expensive spell. And we also know the other 2 mana spells that we may potentially need to fight against in the near future. Later Snappy Doo. Opponent's at 9, so we're not like in the worst of spots ever, but it's not the best of spots. Let's see. With our Cryptic now, we can suspend the Ancestral. Not that I ever expect it to do anything, as I said before. It would be on 2 counters this turn, had we not attacked with the Tar Pit that one turn, but we would not be in a position where, if we drew a Tasker, we'd be able to like kill our opponent over the course of 2 turns. This is a really rough spot, and I still think I just have to suspend the Ancestral. Oh, I can't suspend the Ancestral because I don't have 5 blue sources, because there's no way I'm cracking this turn in a million billion years. Alright, well, playing this turn and not playing his Visions. Fair enough. Fair enough. My opponent just goes to attacks. I don't know what I'll do. I might animate my Tar Pit and try to block, because I can't beat 2 one mana spells anyways. And trading my Creeping Tar Pit and Spell Snare and their mana for this turn for a like Boros Charm, I think ends up better for me. So I think I'm going to try to trade my Tar Pit. I think I talked myself into it. Yeah, I've talked myself into it. I can't beat 2 1-mana spells, and I think this allows me to beat a 2-mana spell reasonably. Not well, but it allows me to. Bolt. They're bolt targeting me? Lightning Bolt targeting Magician 15. Okay. As I said before, I don't think I can be another 1-mana spell. I could, like, change the line there and try to, like, fetch the other island Cryptic Bounce, but... Alright, so now is there any difference in being at 2 in this spot? Our opponent has an Eidolon, and we're going to have to Cryptic counter draw that Rift Bolt. Being at 2 allows us to die to one of the other Goblin Guides. There are 2 Lavamancers gone, 2 Goblin Guides gone, and 1 Swift Spear gone. But it does allow us access to an additional mana, so I think I actually do want to crack this and go to 2. I hope I died to stupid Goblin Guide for this. That would suck. But this allows us to, if we draw the Tasker that we really want to draw, we can get there. Can't cast that, because again, we have 4 blue sources, because one of our blue sources died in combat last turn. Could also run a weird line here where we try to like Cryptic counter this and bounce a land. I think that's just like super bad though. Yeah, I think that's just super bad. Alright, counter target spell, draw a card. And leave up Terminate and Bolt, or Terminate and Counter Squall. Yep. Alrighty here. We're fighting. We're trying. Fighting the good fight. Alright, counter that Eidolon. Did find the Counter Squall. Uh-oh. Alright, good. No 1-mana spell. Here we go. Come on, deck. Give us a Snapcaster or a Tassiger. We don't deserve it, but I'll definitely take it. Kolaghan's Command. I still... Yep, I have... Okay, good. Alright. We can draw into that immediately. Alright, so our opponent's card in their hand is a spell, but if we draw into that immediately, we don't have Counter Squall up. But if the card is another Eidolon, we're dead on the spot. If they top deck a spell, we die on the spot. You wanted to counter the fetch down to 2, getting the last basic island, and counter and bounce the Swiss Spear. I think that's a line you can take. I just didn't like it at the time. Oh, this is so hard. Okay. God, if it's another stupid Eidolon, I lose on the spot. How do I play it with my opponent? I play my 1-mana spell so I can trade for your Tar Pit and put you to 3. I suspend my Rift Bolt. If I had a 2-mana spell, would I pass the turn and try to Boros Charm you or Tarkus Command you? or what have you, and then try to Eidolon? I think the answer is no, because my opponent fetched a 2. So if my Eidolon resolves, you're dead on the spot. And you'd already burn a Cryptic, so you have to have Spell Snare, whereas you could have Spell Snare or another Counter Squall. So I could have another Eidolon, and I could have a 2-mana spell. Alright, I'm going to get my K command. If I die, whatever. So they're Cryptics. If we live through the turn, we're fine. We win the game, so now if we live through the turn. Alright. Return our Snapcaster Mage and make you discard. Leave up Bolt so we can beat a Goblin Guide. Okay, it was a Lightning Helix. So we made a bad play, technically. Ooh, nice. We can beat that card. So now, do we bolt them, or do we bolt this? We have a Cryptic on top of our library. So we bolt this. We flash in a Snapcaster Mage with no targets, hold up Cryptic. Then we have Cryptic plus Counter Squall up. Yeah, we have to bolt this thing. So this thing's getting in 3 attack steps under the current line we're taking. Alright, so we ship the turn here. If our opponent just straight passes back, we Snapcaster, Lightning Bolt, bolt them, Counter Squall their permanent, untap a Cryptic, and win them at 3 life. And if they go for like an Eidolon, we Snapcaster, Cryptic, I think counter draw. I was trying to figure out if it was counterbalance my Snapcaster or not. Okay, go to the end step. Flash in Snapcaster. I could make them discard, but obviously that's really bad because then we just died of a spell. My Bolt's in here somewhere. There you are, Bolt. Bzz. Bolt shoot. I feel like this is the time you guys are supposed to start spamming Bolt Snap, or Snap Bolt Snap, or whatever the heck it is. That silly comment I made was that one day. Ooh, creepy tar pit. I'm like all into chat spam, by the way. So if you guys want to start just like going crazy in chat, I always find it super amusing. I do like when we can actually be productive in chat, but making funny comments in chat is also sweet. Alright. My opponent has a... Nope, they don't have a spell. Okay, so their card in hand's a land. Nice. I think we got there. Counter Squall this so we don't lose to an Eidolon for no reason. Oh, they just drew a Lava Spike and Sandbag? That's impressive. Impressive. I guess they had to have sandbagged, obviously. Alright, got there. That was sweet. Snap Cruel Ultimatum. What's up, Citrus? How it goes? Sorry, I was like super not into chat there, as I really wanted to win that game after punting on turn 1 and not playing my basic. I was trying to set up for just like the scenarios in which I don't want to take damage and wanted to like play a Serum or a Ancestral or something on the following turn. But super stoked we won game 1. That's freaking great. I hate losing to burn. The matchup's always so terrifying. Get out of here, Ancestral. Alright. On the draw, I still think this anchor's too bad. I will consider it on the play. I promise I'll consider it on the play. As this person has showed us, they have 12 or 8, for sure 10 1-mana creatures, 4 guides, 4 Suspirs, and 2 Lava Mans, and then they have 4 Eidolons. It's so bad. Why is it so bad? Thanks, Tree. I appreciate it. Gifts, I care, because I want to aspire for perfection. Like, I don't expect that I play perfectly every time, but I aspire to reach that at some point. Awesome, Corey. Welcome. Corey 1598. Are you possibly Corey Baumeister? Sounds brutal. I think this hand's a mulligan. I think on the draw this is too bad. I think I'd keep that hand in the play. Part of me wants to keep that hand, to be fair. Alright, this hand's going to have to be acceptable. We don't want another fetch land, even though they could have a Goblin Guide. I'd rather see a look at a random card, and if the second card on our deck's also a land, I'd rather get that card off the top of my library, not have to draw that one. Snap Empty Wallet, I actually do. Like, I actually feel comfortable recommending this deck to players that want to go to a local tournament. Like, it's really hard to play. Like, that's the sort of deck hold thing. It's A, expensive, B, really hard to play. Like, there's a steep learning curve when you make mistakes. You don't usually get to get out of them for free. But the deck's really, 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 really fun. You want to fetch an island. Yeah, I'm going to fetch an island. And I think it matches up well against a lot of like nonsensical decks that are happening right now. This Cryptic Wall, okay-ish, is not very good in this spot. I'm going to leave the Sulfur Falls on top, as I do want to draw that as it's an untapped red source. Just really need my opponents to not play a bunch of creatures. Of course they are. Probably going to get bolted here, go down to like -50. Oh, it's not $1,000 anymore? That would be delightful for people to be able to buy it then. Alright, yeah, play the Swamp so we can counter Squall. We just really need to trade this counter Squall or this Dispel for a spell if our opponent will oblige. And they have a little bit of an incentive to do so because of the Swift Spears. Yep. Alright, so we're able to cack this, go to 6, play a Tassiger. It'd be hard-pressed to believe we ever win this game, but... I mean, if they have 5 1-mana, yeah, 5 mana, 1 mana spells. When I mulligan to 5 and didn't have a turn 1 piece of interaction. Like, if I had a Bolt or something, I could have won this game, but... it was not to be. We'll still just run out Tassie and... you know, I'll block the guide and take the Swift Spear damage, and my opponent has 2 lands in play, so I'd be shocked if I, you know, untapped, but... Alright, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I'm glad I mulliganed the hand then, because that first hand that we had was just not going to interact with us at all either. Second hand was the closest hand where we had no lands. That hand might have been a keep. If, like, our opponent had accidentally shown us a Goblin Guide, I think you'd probably keep that hand. Anger of the Gods. Do we want to? Yeah, AV's still $1 million. Yeah, I saw Tarns on CFB. I bought my Tarns for 55, 45. It's one of those dollar amounts. Bought my set of 4 of them, and then I think the new ones are $39.99 right now on CFB. Oh, they went back up to 45? Nice. Well, nice and not nice. Online, get them for 35? Okay. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Ooh, AJ. That's awesome. Corn Chips. You took it to GPL. I was exhausted after day 1. I love the deck like crazy, but GP Vegas probably Death Shadow John. Well, Corn Chips, if we end up battling, we'll have a very, very fun matches. I think the matchup's like really tight, and there's a lot of sweet plays. And if we don't play, that's fine. At least we get to hang out and kick it together on Saturday and Sunday to Vegas. I have old Tarns, luckily. Might be able to trade a few of them. Yeah, that's nice. KG, I'm not sure if you're trolling. Like, I figured the LOL means you are trolling, but I'm not certain. Yeah, may or may not be a part of Team Channel Fireball Fire. Sweet squad. Sweet website, you should definitely check it out. The stream's not technically sponsored by CFB. I should probably get a CFB logo up here. I need to talk to Andy about that, I guess. Yeah, I should probably do that. Yeah, Channel Fireball is kind of the nut, so you should definitely always check them out. I mean, it's one of the first things I do in the morning. I check certain text messages, and then I pretty much go to CFB after I get out of the shower, and it's like, all right, what articles do I need to read for the day? I do take pride in just like reading every single thing I possibly can. All right, we bring in this stupid anger. Pretty off it. I don't like taking that much damage off my lands. Sounds bad to me. Sounds bad to me. Just want to bash my opponent. Just want to draw a lightning bolt and a fatal push and just crush him. I'd love to go first. Yeah. How far are you willing to go? How far are you willing to go? God, this hand's close. This is where Steam Vents is 100% a keep. Because you can shock yourself to 18 or play it tapped. And I'm trying to figure out what percentage of the time I'd play the Steam Vents tapped. I think it's actually pretty reasonably high. Alright, yep, I'm keeping this hand. My opponent boarded up to 61? That's crazy talk. Maybe they boarded in past now that they saw Tassiger. That would suck. Maybe I shouldn't have played my Tassiger then. Whatever. Hopefully they draw a bunch of Path to Exiles instead of a bunch of Goblin Guides. No, don't Goblin Guide me, bro. When you have 3 Zendikar Tars and 1 M17. Yeah, and roll the little dot on the bottom of it, like stamping saying, hey, this is a real thing. Oh, it drives me up the wall. Alright, so here we can shock ourselves with a Blood Crit to take 2 to kill the Swift Spear so we can start firing out blue spells, but I think that's just a mistake. Again, this is a burn deck. Don't play your lands in such a way it counts as a spell for them. But I'm obviously jumping for joy that we drew a land. That's awesome. 10 out of 10. Or 5 out of 7, or whatever the meme is this week. I don't know anymore. Someone explained to me what 5 out of 7 was the other day. Okay, my opponent has another land in their hand. You see there how they didn't fetch a Sacred Foundry. That tells you they have to have a white source somewhere because they're highly dependent upon getting their white mana. So my opponent has to have another land in their hand among their 5 cards. So that's the question, do we want to terminate now, or would we be okay if we had to trade this terminate for a Boros Charm? I think I can get damage out of my opponent's Eidolon if they have more haste creatures. I'm not super stoked if I have to trade this for a Boros Charm, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. But I would expect my opponent to, yep, Inspiring Vantage. That would explain why you fetch Basic Mountain there. Yeah, you are definitely right, Jared. You either get there or you don't. Alright, see if my opponent fires off a Tarka command or anything. They don't. We'll try to blow up their guy. They own a Boros Charm here. It's not the end of the world. We trade 2 damage each way. We go to 15, they go to 14. But we've also traded all their mana for the turn. I'd be very surprised my opponent Boros Charmed here. Okay, they are doing it. Interesting, interesting. And a Rift Bolt and suspend. Okay. Land. Nice. Perfect, 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 perfect. Okay. So now we can fetch an island, let the Rift Bolt happen. We can Snapcaster Mage, target Lightning Bolt, leaving up our Sulfur Falls, go to 12, try to line up a block on the Eidolon, so it'd be 12 faces 12, 10, and then leave a bolt up for another creature. I think that's what we want to do. So we definitely want the damage off of the Eidolon from the Rift Bolt. So I think that's my plan. So I'm plays around Boros Charm like somewhat, like again they could Boros Charm in response to my Snapcaster Mage. Be a little weird, but alright, puts me down to 12, I go to 11, I go to 9. They cast a haste creature pre-combat, that'd be good for me. AJ, I think it is if you're looking to improve. Fetch another basic. Alright, Swift Spear, okay. That resolves. They try to cast a spell here, I'm probably going to have to respond. Ooh, another Swift Spear. Let's go get dicey and bad for the last card's a Tarkus Command. The Tarkus Command I'm just going to lose. And it's probably a Tarkus Command based on what's happening right now. Weird. Okay. So let's imagine in response to this, I fetch 10 to 11. I play my Snapcaster, go to 9. And then my opponent swings out. I block my Snapcaster Mage on the Eidolon. And I have no effects, and I go to 7 from the Swift Spears. If they then try to attack his command, so I guess I can let this resolve. So they'll go to 7. Then let's imagine the world in which... Ooh, there is a backdoor potential here. I just thought of this. There's a backdoor potential I lock my opponent out of casting spells. So they attack with everybody. And then... Oh, no, then I can't cast enough spells and I die. Right, if I let this resolve, I fetch down to 11. If I counter Squall... If I counter Squall their spell, I go to 9. I take combat damage for 6, I go to 3. So yeah, I can't cast 2 spells anymore, so I can't actually win the game unless I just natural draw a bolt. Okay, so my counter Squall line sucks, so we can't counter Squall. So if they then attack Tarkus command, I then flashback the bolt going to 7. Because I go to 11 off the fetch, 9 off the Snapcaster. I have to bolt the Swift Spear, but then it's a chump block on the Eidolon. So the Eidolon's still in the battlefield, my opponent's at 5, and I take 2 in combat from a Swift Spear. That doesn't seem to work out well for me either. Yeah, Admiral, they would take 2 going to 5. The problem is I can't cast enough spells if I counter Squall it. Yeah, I think I lose to Antarctic Command, so now it's like, okay, well, what if it's a Boros Charm? And if it's a Boros Charm, the Eidolon puts me to 9, as we determined. The Boros Charm would be putting me to 5. Combat would be putting me to 1. So if I bolt a Swift Spear out of the way and I'm trading my Eidolon, I still have to draw something. If I counter Squall to that, we end up in the exact same scenario. So now if in response to this, we Snapcaster Bolt immediately, so that 2 of the guys don't get Prowess triggers, we go to 7, the command puts us to 4, we block and go to 1. But there's no reason to Snapcaster in response and do all that now if it's not the command. Three, 6... Okay, determined what I'm doing is fetching Island, playing Snapcaster, targeting Bolt, and then letting this resolve, I think. Into the blanket tank? Oh yeah, the blanket's warm and cozy, and it doesn't let bad things happen to me. That's a lie. It lets awful things happen to me all the time. Alright, so I'm going to 9. Yeah, Admiral, we can't beat I don't know if we can actually beat many of the 2-mana spells. The problem is based on my opponent's line, it's pretty clear it has to be a 2-mana spell. Okay, so one last time. Just to make exactly sure here. Okay, one last time. If it's a Tarkus command, I would have to be blocking a Swift Spear and bolt the Eidolon to go to 1, but then I have to be able to beat 2 Swift Spears, of which I can't actually do that. If it's a Lightning Helix, I can't win. If it's a Searing Blaze, I can't win. If it's a Boros Charm, that's 2. So I block the Eidolon, I take 2, 4, 8, I go to 1. I go to -1 for casting my Lightning Bolt. So in the event that it's a Boros Charm, and they play the Boros Charm in combat, I can win the game by bolting them and peeling. Alright, I'm letting this resolve and I'm letting them attack, and then I'm playing it from there. I've determined that the spell I can beat is a Boros Charm, and I cannot beat any other spells. So I'm going to play as if it's a Boros Charm. Alright, that's one of the spells I couldn't beat. Crap. Yeah, that was one of the spells we absolutely could not ever beat. Alright, so we bolt the Eidolon, we go to 7 and then go to 3. I guess you're not technically dead, but it sucks. I feel like they were supposed to helix my face, but what do I know? So they go to 8, I take 2, go to 7, and then I take 4, go to 3. Alright, here we go. Big money! I don't even know what I'm looking for. Divine Intervention. I guess I would accept another Lightning Bolt. It's probably not that card. It's probably not that one. Alright, let's Serum Visions. Cryptic and Thought Scour. How about no and no? Can't beat a spell, so I'm not going to play around a spell, so I should definitely Serum Visions again. Tasker, there we go. That's a good one. Is Cryptic somewhat appealing to be able to tap their team? Again, I can't beat a spell, so I can play my fetch land and play my Tassiger. Cryptic would put me to 2. Would me allow me to fight through chump blocks? Yeah, I think this Cryptic plays and this Tasker doesn't. Alright, I'm gonna be like really... Ooh, I don't want to crack that yet. Be like really freaking stoked if we win this game. Oh boy. I don't want to crack here in case my opponent draws a Goblin Guide and then alphas. I guess I would just be dead anyways to a Goblin Guide. That's bad. Them attacking is very bad. Oh my god, we're still alive. Oh my god, we're not alive. Cryptic Command. Alright, I guess technically we can win the game because we topped the Cryptic. Alright, come on, dealer. I kind of deserve it. I did top a 4-mana spell against an Eidolon. Please let there be justice one more time. Oh, dear god, this would be just way too great. To attack. I need my opponent to not block. They shouldn't block because they have me locked out of every spell that's not Cryptic, and it's pretty asinine for me to top a Cryptic Command there. So I fetch Basic Island, I go to 1, and I tap their team. Yeah, I'm gonna have to tap their team. There's no reason to fetch right now because I can't actually beat anything. Alright, here we go, boys and girls, ladies and gents, friends of the stream. We need our opponent to brick one more time. Alright, they didn't kill us in response, that's a start. Alright. Tap all creatures you control and draw a card seems like the best mode to me. I think that's the best mode. Trying to think there's an incentive to bounce their Stomping Ground. I guess there's an incentive to bounce their Stomping Ground in case they somehow put Nakatl in their deck. What is going on, dear Nickel Bullock? Yeah, Patriot, I don't have any idea. Alright, I think I'm going to tap all their creatures and draw a card, allowing me to draw another Cryptic in case for some reason they draw another spell. There's no reason to bounce one of their creatures because then I just lose. And F6. Do I win or lose? We got there! Yeah, I was aware, Danny. I was looking at it. I was like, well, I've already spent 6 minutes on these 1 combat steps. Alright, that was a great match against Burn. I don't know if we deserved to win that one. We didn't play game 1 well, but winning that game certainly felt great. So I'm pretty sure we deserved to open a Tarmogoyf for a Black Lotus or something. Yeah. Yeah, Burkhardt for 2020. I won't be eligible for US president. I probably won't run. I don't think I'd be good at politics. I don't enjoy lying to people or stretching the truth out and crap like that, but I'm not willing to play the game, so to speak. Sealed product. Here we go. Oof. Yeah, that was a hard-fought 3-2 tab. We punted one of the games early on, and then I think just didn't play very well / ran somewhat bad. Definitely could have played the first 2 matches better and lost both of those. 997 subscribers. I don't have a subscriber button. Ooh, Koth Wins is falling. Thanks, Koth. Just gotta stop killing me at Grand Prix, though, dude. Come on, that wasn't cool. Ooh, what's this? Oh, I've played with this card. So, I did 1 draft of this format, and I actually got past this card in Pack 3 when I was a green deck with infinite mana fixing, and my buddy sitting next to me, one of my coworkers, he opens the pack, looks at me, and he's like, you have to agree when we play in the final pod to not kill me. He just knew his deck was great. And I said, sure, I'll agree to not kill you. And then he passes me this. Obviously, I slam it. And then the next pack, he passes a red-green rare. I slam it. And then the next pack, he passed a blue rare. And I slammed it. And then we get to deck building, and I just have like 13 rares out of the 24 or whatever laid out in front of me. And he's just like, no wonder I couldn't figure out what color you were in Pack 2. You roost all of the colors. And I was like, yeah, I just take all the rares and all the mana fixing. I'll figure it out later. KJ, I mean, that's not a legitimate reason. It's a legitimate reason that I'm not old enough. I believe if I were the best person for the job and would do the best thing for the majority of the people, then I believe that would be a reason to run, yes, even if I were not good at politics. I guess a show, if you watch any television, Designated Survivor, I guess, is something to that. The new Keith Sutherland show, where it's like, dude has to inherit it after, you know, the White House gets bombed or whatever. Not bombed, the White House, the Capitol building. Another Leaguer riot? It's 12 o'clock. I have work tomorrow. Hey, we had 1,000 followers. That's freaking awesome. We have 255 people watching. We're almost back to the numbers when I was streaming, like, you know, 3 times a week. Dokuma, I think playing it in the dark is correct. It's just so close. Like, because you have the Fatal Push, you're pretty heavily incentivized to play the Fatal Push, or to play the basic Swamp. And then, if you do draw into a blue cantrip, you can just fetch to 17, play blue cantrip, whereas instead of being at... You're going to go to 16 instead of going to 18. So it's like, how many more of the matchups where you need to preserve your life total do taking those 2 damage to prevent a blue source versus you would need turn 1 Fatal Push? That was something that I didn't do, like, the price equity check on in my head at the time. That's why I think it was wrong. But it's like Revolt Zoo, Burn, Affinity, Infect. Against any of the Collected Company decks I'd like to get Fatal Push online. It's close. Designated Survivor is, like, fine. I like Keith Sutherland a lot as an actor. I know that he has a lot of, you know, individual sort of problems, so to speak. But I think overall he's a great actor, and I definitely like all of his stuff. Like, I definitely like 24 as a show a lot. Oh, yeah, Patriot fan, my bad. Let me get that. Oh, no, we still want to be in collection. I don't want to go back to the play lobby. I'll try to stream either tomorrow night or Saturday. It'll depend on what my schedule looks like. It's most likely going to be Saturday, as I need to actually get back to testing a few secret cards here on stream. Spoilers, the 75 that I've been playing I think is the best one if you're going to play an individual Modern tournament. It may not be the 75 that I register next weekend in San Antonio. As some of you may have guessed, some of my teammates might be playing some of the cards in my 75. Who would have thought? Yeah, whenever you take the black and the blue and the red cards, you take a lot of the very good cards that other decks can play. Hint, when you have Fatal Pushes and Lightning Bolts, you may or may not take them from other decks. So, Admiral, I would guess Saturday. I definitely want to watch all of Paul, Marshall, and Luis cover a limited Grand Prix. So it'd probably be tomorrow, Saturday afternoon. I know Owen's not going to be streaming. I know Jarvis won't be streaming. Caleb will probably still be in hibernation from his 24-hour stream. But if nobody's streaming tomorrow night, like, and I've got nothing to do, like, I might hop on. Figure it out. ML Obenza, it is unified modern, which means you cannot include the same cards in any other deck, and all cards still follow the 4 of rule. The only exceptions are basic cards. So the 6 basic lands, excuse me. I believe a waste can be in multiple different decks. So if you want to play a Tron list with waste and an Eldrazi list with waste, you can do that. Yeah, Danny, I'll keep you posted though, I promise that. And Johnny Redeem, let me get you my email address. I know that you shot me a message earlier. Don't worry, I did not ignore that. It is this. I don't usually give this out, so this might just be a disaster case giving you my work email, but I trust you. You've seemed like a reasonable enough human being that I don't think you're going to try to just, like, spam hack my work email or something silly. Yeah, Citrus, of course. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. Let's go ahead. Hopefully everyone here is a fan of Caleb. I like Caleb's work a lot. He's done a bunch of great work improving his stream, and I love giving him the hosts every time we can. So I'm probably going to be watching the stream as I try to fall asleep for the next 15-20 minutes, as it's difficult for me to fall asleep immediately after streaming. I usually go get some water, use the restroom, do all that jazz, but I definitely watch his streams as I'm falling asleep. So everybody have a wonderful night. Thank you for kicking it. Again, I will try to improve my quality of play. I keep saying that. I think I did better about chatting with Chad again, and I think I did a piss poor job of it last night, but I'm glad I improved on that. Force Guild Pack is the main colors and get picked. So Force Izzet and Dimir. I mean, that was what I was going to do anyways. I was just going to open a Cruel Ultimatum if we drafted it on stream, so. But yeah, feel free to follow me on Facebook, on Twitter. I plan to shout out on there the next time I go live. And thanks for hanging out. Later, Michelle. Kurtz Senpai. Thanks, Zoram. Take it easy, everybody. Have fun. Good night. Awesome Patriot fan. Oops, Caleb. Oh, I didn't type Caleb D. Whoopsie daisy. Host Caleb DMTG. Now hosting Caleb DMTG. Sweet.